and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Jeremy, or just Jeremy, or Jeremy, Jeremy. Goodbye.
And this is Aaron. I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
Quick announcements today. This is your final warning. Sign up for the Show Me Showdown. It's going to be first weekend of August. Links will be in the show notes. Hopefully we will see you there. There's going to be MCP and Judgment. It's going to be a good time. As always, links in the show notes. And finally, we have the long-awaited news.
Hey,
news! Yes.
News!
So, what do you guys want to talk about first?
General response.
Mouthfeel?
Yeah.
So, I have a question for you, Aaron. Did your parents ever teach you that old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all?
They tried.
My parents didn't. So, I am not a fan of this. I don't know. I felt like this was a bit of a lacking update. I'm not really sure what the point of a lot of these changes were. They feel almost like they're just pulling levers as opposed to like having a direction.
So I was absolutely whelmed by the mini extravaganza. It was exactly what I expected. So I expected a low bar, and they cleared it. Yay!
I wasn't absolutely floored, but this was my worst expectation. Like, I thought there was a chance this would happen, and it did. Mm-hmm. But I was really hoping we would see more than this.
Okay. Jeremy, before I ask Brandon some questions, what are your mouthfeel thoughts?
I mean, compared to the others and what we got, I am very surprised at the negative, or I don't know, I don't know. I'm going to give it an A minus. Like, they got rid of all the annoying cards that I fucking hated, and they've changed some things that I think needed to be changed. Are they catering directly to the KC meta? No. But I think as a whole, I think that the games are going to be better than they were before they came out with the stuff they're going to be doing. So I'm not sure what everybody was looking for, aside from, I want the game to be exactly as I want it to be. I think that's just kind of odd.
So Brandon, piggybacking on that, do you think, regardless of what your expectations were, do you think that the game is in a better place today than it was pre-mini extravaganza, yes or no?
Just purely from a functional standpoint, I think I would probably say yes in a vacuum, but I want to say no. And so the reason I think functionally yes is I do think it kind of dealt with one of the lists, but I think there was just as many lists that were... So if my perspective of the reason I wasn't happy with where the game was is because I think the game is fairly solved and derivative. And I think the game is currently more derivative and solved than it was before. But one of the lists I absolutely hated was toned down a small amount.
Okay. I think that the meta is in a better place now than it was. I might change my tune in a month, as the solving of the game, if it can be solved and gets there, ends up there. But for now, I'm excited to see what the next couple of weeks and months bring with the shakeup. So I think it's better than it was, but doesn't solve what I think you and I might consider some of the underlying foundational issues that the game might have. However, I do want to give a shout out to Josh from Muse on Marvel. He had it wasn't super long, but maybe 2 to 3 minutes of talking about the game and expectations. And bottom line, trying to paraphrase without putting words in his mouth, the game is what it is. Stop expecting it to be something else. And just either like it for what it is, or don't play it. But stop trying. And he wasn't talking to you, right? He's talking to like the community writ large. Like, if you had expectations that the game was going to get quote unquote fixed, well, clearly it's not, right? It just got some very minor shakeups. Either love the game with all of its imbalances and its dice and its solved meta, or don't. But don't expect it to be something it's not. And so I really agreed with everything he had to say. And I think it kind of ties in with where I thought the game was at and where it's going. I don't think AMG is going to make this a competitively balanced, crunchy, interesting game. I think it's going to be a great game to play with your friends anytime, and competitively if you want to lean into specifically what the meta tells you need to play. And so with that in mind, I choose to play this game, right? I'm going to show up on Thursdays most of the day, most of the weeks, and have a great time, rolling dice with some people that I like. And I might not go to conventions for this game as much, and that's okay. So that's where I'm at with the game. Kind of coming to terms with what AMG has decided to make the game into, and then taking that from there. What are your thoughts on that ramble I just went on?
I think Josh's opinion is fair from his point of view, but I think that's also an opinion that is easy to have if for somebody who's been in the game for the length of it that he has. Because I think from his perspective, this has basically been the game the whole time. Like a small shakeup in the early part, but like this has been pretty much the majority of the game he's experienced. And the game I really fell in love with did not feel like this at all. It felt a lot more open and flexible to where like you could come up with new unique lists and like felt like you could compete with it. And the solve version of the game that's kind of been around the last year and a half to 2 years this feels new and different. And for people that loved the old version, I don't know if it's fair to say it's not your game anymore. But I think he's right in the fact that like we shouldn't expect it to change at this point. I think it's pretty obvious at this point this is where the devs want the game to be.
Jeremy, you have any thoughts?
I mean, I think, again, I think that the stuff that I didn't like about the game, some of it was corrected with removing some of the cards. But then, once turn 3 and 4 happen, what was going to happen usually does. So yeah, I mean, my expectations are the game isn't going to change from the game I played a year ago, which wasn't the game I played 3 years ago. So I agree with Brandon in that. The first year of this game was exciting and incredible. And then things started to slip out of the woodworks, weird things, anomalies, and then they became the thing. So, most of the people that started within the last couple of years, that's the way it's always been. So they don't know the difference. And maybe that's exactly what they want, and that's great. But my expectations are it is what it is. It's been this way for a couple years, and I think they took some of the annoying shit out, and I'm happy about that. I'm glad they did that, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
We'll get into it a little bit more as we progress through the tactics card changes, but I almost feel like I agree with Jeremy that like I know how much he hated specific cards. I used to hate them also. I've kind of cooled on them a bit over the last year or so, but for me, it's more about I think we've lost tools that we could have used against what I perceive to be the strongest list in the game. And a lot of those strongest lists didn't even utilize the stuff that got kicked out. And so that's what I'm worried about, is that by doing blanket changes that isn't targeted at any one thing, that we're actually just going to end up making what the best list even better. And it kind of reminds me of back in the day with Privateer Press and like Mark II, which is some of the same, none of the same developers except for Will, I think. Or Will Schick, I guess there's too many fucking Wills. But it always felt like there was like, everyone knows these two lists are the best by far, and everything else is second best. And the meta was just had to accept that for a long time. And it reminds me a lot of it in what we're currently in. I think like the 2 or 3 best lists in the game right here, it feels like they're just okay or want them to be the best list. And it just feels odd that, a game developer would view it that way, or they just don't see it as being overpowered.
We want to dive into the well, first of all, give a framework for what we're going to talk about. So what we're not going to talk about are in-depth character spoils, because we'll come to that in future episodes.
We're just going to talk about current game right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about the TTCs that were people use rotated, but rotated is really wrong. They were cold. This is the TTC cold of 2024.
I was asking what got rotated? This isn't rotated.
Yeah. It's just weird again that they decided to do this because they had a formula in place, like a standard for how they were going to rotate cards, and they just abandoned it. It's just odd. And so maybe they just said, by doing this, we won't have to print a new pack, and it'll save people money. And so maybe that's what they were doing. It just feels weird. And I didn't watch all the videos. I was busy over the weekend, so I didn't have time to sit down and listen to what they said. Maybe they explained it better, and I just missed it, but it just seemed odd to me.
Not really.
It's fine.
I want to save some for when we get done, so we can kind of sum up. I have some thoughts that I'll hit at the end. But
so I'd like to just go through here one card at a time, if you guys are okay with that.
Absolutely.
So I'll just read through the list slowly. We'll go.
Well, I think we should give a rating, like 1 through 10.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's make some content. That's what we're here to do, right?
We're going to start off with the one Jeremy is most sad about, Advanced R&D.
Fuck that card.
There was definitely a time where I 100% agreed this card needed to be just rotated. Just get fucking rid of it. The problem I have with it now is it seems like there's a lot of game mechanics they've designed around it, and then they decided to get rid of it. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
Please extrapolate or explain.
There's a lot of characters that have very specific power costs on their abilities. Now, I am absolutely not a fan of the way it just has become, I just use this for my gimmicky turn 1 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really dislike that. And the fact that, like, Spirit of Wakanda got really out of control for a bit, like, I think it's definitely a fair banning. I think it's fine. But I'm no longer of, this was a 10 out of 10, needed to get banned. That's all I'm saying. I think that there's enough character abilities characters that are basically invalidated by banning this card.
Who?
Like, you might as well have banned 6 characters.
Give me some specifics.
Well, Malekith, I think, is one. Ulik is not quite on the same level, but if you're going to have stuff like Inhuman Leadership be a thing, and Wong be a thing, then this card isn't out egregious. So, like, it was the old printing when it wasn't, like, Daring Activation or whatever they changed it to. I think it's fine. But I don't know. It just seemed odd to me.
Okay.
Not saying I'm against it. It's just odd.
I can understand where you're coming from. There are some characters that would love to see this, just to get their kit online. The problem is when you do that times 3, right? Mm-hmm. Look at that. Gwen can pull you off. Miles can swing, and so can ASM.
Yeah.
As much as everyone said, let's make it a Web Warriors only. No, it does the exact same thing for them as it does for defenders, right? I'm going to play R&D. A lot of people have said that R&D should have just been made Web Warriors only.
That's the opposite. It should have been not Web Warriors only. God damn.
Bottom line, this card, from my perception, this card was only used for turn 1, speeding up the game to end scoring early, period dot. Right?
I think it was also utilized to punish the middle, which I think in our current meta is super relevant and important, which is why I'm somewhat against it getting banned. I think by banning it, you're actually removing the ability for a lot of lists to threaten people who are just trying to outscore you. But the problem, like exactly what you're saying, it's a double-edged sword. It's good for both of them. So is it actually doing anything?
This gets a rare 10 out of me. 10 for me. It's a 10. This card needed to go away. It was only being used for gimmicks, regardless of the intent or characters impacted. Jeremy, what's your rating on the banning or culling of R&D?
It's a 10. 10 out of 10. I think it fucked up design space. Like, it just fucks everything up.
So the only reason I'm not going to give it a 10 is because other mechanics like this exist, which is going to increase the value of those mechanics.
But good. It should.
I agree with you, both of you.
No, I think it's fine. There's definitely periods of the game I think I would have given this a 10. Mm-hmm. In my current mindset, I'd probably give it an 8. Okay. Still good for the game, but I think there's a little bit more of a I don't know, minutia with it where it actually has more impact than it would have. Partially because they waited so long to ban it. If they had banned it forever ago, like Hired Muscle, where it got immediately banned, it would have not been a big deal. But they've nerfed character power costs in a way that made you rely on the card. And it's like, well, now it's like part of the game.
I don't know that they actually nerfed characters with respect because this card existed. Like Ulik was probably never going to have a 1 cost, like, quote unquote charge or a 2 costs.
A 2 cost. Sure. No, I understand that. But like when Malekith's thing went from cost 2 to cost 3, you're telling me they didn't even consider that advanced R&D existed in the game? Because if that's true, I have less faith in the devs than they did it on purpose.
I'm going to push you down that corridor, yes. I don't necessarily think Malekith's nerf was specifically correlated to advanced R&D.
I think if they didn't even consider the fact that advanced R&D was in the game, that's a worse statement than saying that they designed it around advanced R&D.
Let's say I'm 50-50 on the subject now that I think back to the actual Malekith nerf.
Because the instant it got announced, they go, okay, so you have to play advanced R&D. That's the nerf.
Right.
I was like, sure, that's fair. Like, it costs you resources. It's not nothing. It makes you take power off another model. It's relevant.
I'm still not convinced that R&D was
if the
even in
devs
the
never if they thought making it cost 3 meant he couldn't charge.
No, they
we're
meant
done talking,
that he
they have
could
no idea what they're
charge,
doing.
but maybe there was a cost to be paid. Maybe it's in Inhumans, or it's under Professor. Like, there are lots of people who can give
with
power.
Wong, there's a lot
R&D
of
was
question
one of them.
marks. Right, but if they didn't even consider advanced R&D, that's a problem. But I think they did, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on to the next card, we have AIM lackeys. Thank God the meta has been corrected by banning AIM lackeys. I'm so happy that we can now play the real game of an MCP.
I've always felt
this was
that
honestly
one
of my favorite cards in the whole game. I tried to include it anytime I played MODOK.
Well, sure.
I love this card. I don't understand this change at all.
This was a weird
Nobody plays this card but me.
So everyone who played MODOK should have been playing this card.
Agreed.
It could lead to some degenerate play where, like, oh, I'm going to give Black Cat another move. So now she has effectively 3 actions to double move steal.
For all
like
the people playing Black Cat and MODOK.
Sure. I'm just saying, of everything they did to take away some of those degenerate turns, this card turned it on.
So you're saying it's too dangerous to allow a 5-point model to spend 3 power and attack this card to allow a 3-point model to take a free move action?
No. I'm explaining what the card could do. That's it.
I think we all know what the card could do.
Okay. I am a 5 out of 10 on this card being banned. I agree with you guys. I think character cards should be fun and exciting and impactful. Right? Heroes for Hire didn't get rotated. That's a very impactful, I'm going to call it a character card, even though 2 people can use it.
That's massively impactful. That's actually like a super meta card.
Yep.
How about this? Aaron, I have a serious question for you. How many times ever has someone played this card against you?
Under 10.
Okay.
But above 5.
What are we talking about? You've played thousands of games.
Yep.
Like, what are we talking about?
Okay.
How does this make sense?
I change my vote to a 3.
1. I'm giving a 1.
1?
This makes no sense. Oh, the fact that they printed the card on this list is more impactful than the actual game. What are we talking about? Who thought this was a relevant change? The only argument for this, is that they're coming out with a new card that directly competes with it, and they didn't want there to be a conflict.
The new super powerful MODOK move somebody card? What?
Yeah, so maybe if we said at the same time, they're updating MODOK to make him better, so we had to nerf the card, I get that. There's a reason. There was no reason for this. Nobody's tearing up the meta with their AIM lackey plays. What the fuck?
Okay,
3.
if MODOK gets a buff, then I could see this card not needing, but deserving, potentially, to be taken down a peg.
Yeah, it's not like he did, though.
Yeah. In his current form, that's why I'm a 3 now, because, yes, this card should probably stay to provide some value in being able to take MODOK.
I'll give you one other reason. If they had actually done their previous rotation cycle, where they said all of this symbol is gone, and they just decided not to reprint it, I would have accepted that as a reasonable answer and probably given it a 5. But, like, it just makes no sense to me.
Jeremy, where you at?
I'm on a 3 as well. I think I don't understand it. It was it's a character-driven card of a character that hardly gets played anymore. Yeah. Like, it was one of the reasons you would go, you know what? I'm going to try this 5-pointer again, even though he gets smashed every other game. Fuck no. Now it's gone.
Tactics cards are at a higher premium now than ever. Okay, how about this? Advanced RD getting banned. Got a total rating of a 28. Got a 7. 1/4 of the rating. Okay, we're moving on. Crew the Milano. You're about a year too late, buddy.
Yep.
Where the fuck was this ban when CGR was up our ass? I do think this is such a weird card because it was considered basically worthless for the majority of the game. Then CGR came out and it was like really impactful. So I think this is probably fine because nobody's really playing it outside of like trying to abuse like big characters. I don't know. It's fine.
gets a 2 from me. I actually dislike this one a lot, and I'll explain why.
What?
So I have some umbrage with how they chose to justify this one on the stream. It was in the beginning, like the Guardians are supposed to be a bunch of random like little threats running around. But then they put big guys in there, and then this card just had to go. I'm like, because everyone runs big guys with Guardians now. Like, who's affiliated with Guardians that's a big guy? It's CGR. Only CGR.
Well, Angela.
Okay, Angela wasn't fucking breaking the meta with Crew of the Milano.
Now, I will give them that this might give them some future proofing. Like maybe they're doing like the initiative card that makes somebody affiliated. There could be some future proofing in play here. But yeah, I don't care personally. Like if they're not playing it and it's getting banned and it's causing issues, like I think it's fine.
So what actual issues did this card cause?
Well, I mean honestly,
none.
it's just yet another nerf to CGR. Is honestly what it is.
Sure. Who's playing CGR effectively anymore?
Yeah.
No one.
Not in Guardians.
Right.
Yeah,
he's probably a fine character to bring out once in a while when you murder the world, but he's not going to like win tournaments. So
I feel like this was honestly just written on a list somewhere and was just grandfathered into getting banned, but they had already nerfed CGR.
So what they are trying to do in some fashion, and failing hard in my opinion, is to make affiliated and character cards more impactful by removing a bunch of unaffiliated cards, which is what a lot of this update / cull has done. Okay, Crew of the Milano is probably the most iconic might be the wrong word. Defining card for Guardians, right? Even if you're not playing CGR, you could go with any Guardians roster, bring Crew, and be like, okay, you're playing, Webs. I have an answer for that, or whatever. Maybe you just use it to clear Incinerate on 2 people, right? It doesn't have to be targeted against a specific faction. But it was still something that you knew that Guardians as a faction had, and now it's gone because why?
But was it defining if nobody did it outside of just trying to protect CGR?
I mean, I would do it outside of CGR.
Did you a lot?
Sure. Like, I would bring Crew in every 10, right? And situationally bring it to the 5. My point was this wasn't like so good even with CGR that it was breaking the meta. And you still have other affiliations that have Avengers Assemble, Wakanda Forever, Siege of Darkness. And I think when Guardians can't have Crew, fuck that.
When this card was designed, the status effect game was very different. Right now, there's a lot of mechanics designed around giving out... here's a perfect example. You've seen the spoilers for Apocalypse. Sure. We're not going to go into depth on it, but this card directly opposes his playstyle. And so they probably saw in playtesting that Apocalypse has a problem with this card, and they figured the card was less important than having Apocalypse in the game.
Okay, they specifically addressed why this card was cold, and that was not what they said.
Well, I mean, that's their public answer.
Sure. Whatever. Yeah. This card gets a 2 out of 10 on the cold list from me.
I give it a 5.
Bullshit. Jeremy?
I don't think it matters, but...
I give it a 1. I think this was a great card for them. I think it's exactly as this game is supposed to be. Cards are for specific people and things to make them the flavor that they are. And this was ridiculous that they got rid of it.
Okay, but like being immune to conditions is the identity of Guardians?
No, but they're the only ones that could do it. They just had that little gimmick. They're like, okay, I have a card that does that. And it's like, no one really gave a shit until CGR came out. They kicked him in the nuts. Yeah, like it's a year too late. Let's go back to that. It's a year too late.
I definitely agree with that. It's too little too late. Yeah. This felt like they wrote it down, but this is the first update since they wrote it down, but they pushed through the CGR nerf.
I would buy that. Okay. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason this is getting banned. But anyway, we're going to go on to the next one. We got Disarm. I think they just wanted to have less restricted cards, but I don't. Here's a question. Oh, sorry, I actually skipped it. We'll do Disarm first, but I remember when this card got restricted, and it definitely needed to get restricted. But I think the game is totally different now. I think they could unrestrict it. It wouldn't even matter.
I think it'd get taken quite a bit. I'm going to...
I don't think it'd get taken over fallback.
Sure. Sure. This is another one that gets a 3 out of 10 for me. I don't see why. Like, you have 4 restricted cards now. Like, then what choice are you really enforcing on us, right? Like, the restricted list should be ideally, 10 cards that are all really good that you have to choose which of those 10. So I'd rather the restricted cards all go up in power because they're their own separate bucket that you can't take more of. And you have to choose which of these 10 incredible effects do you want to have because you can't take more than 2. So by reducing the bucket, I don't get it. I don't like it.
Part of me almost thinks that they're going to be reprinting this card with a different rule set, like maybe make it cost an action or something, and have it happen in the power phase maybe. And so they're just cleaning it up in advance for when the card pack comes out. I don't know, but I don't know. This one just seems fishy to me.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's a 2.
I'll give it a 3.
Jeremy,
giving it a 1. It was a pointless one. It was pointless.
Jeremy
if they did this.
only believes in absolutes.
It did.
Okay.
All right, so
it is.
No,
absolute.
it's fine. It's just
not
you are so there. It's a bell curve, Jeremy. And you shouldn't be only 1s and 10s.
So far, that's what you've shown me. 1s and 10s.
Okay.
Let's find some middle ones.
What are the yellow ones for? Because it's not restricted. It's not character only.
changed. Errated.
Errated?
Yeah.
That ones that have been errated?
Yeah.
Where's the errata for? It's not
So,
in the document.
It's not errata. It was replaced.
What do you mean replaced? You're not giving any information.
You're talking about deception, right?
Yes.
Deception is cold. In its
Yes.
place is another card called something.
Oh. Okay.
So, in effect, it is an errata for
Instead
deception.
of errating it, they just replaced it.
Yes. What's it called?
Okay. So it's stolen identity now.
There you go.
Got it. Okay.
So we
Fine.
should look at this card as an errata, not a.
Okay. So this one is choose an enemy character.
Have you looked at this
without
yet?
an
Or is
activated
this live?
token. No, I've read it,
Okay.
but I'm just reading it for the listeners. Choose an enemy character without an activated token within 4 of this character. If there are no other non-dazed enemy characters within 2 of the chosen character, you may advance the chosen character at speed towards this character. So the only restriction is they have to not have an activated token.
Yep.
So this stops the massive turn 1 threat extension.
Yep.
I think that's a good change, and I assume it means it's no longer restricted. I would guess
It is no longer
because
restricted.
it's a different named card. Yeah. Okay. I actually kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's massively less powerful, but
This gets a 10 from me. It takes what Mystique already did. It made one little nuance to the card, made it unrestricted, and now it's an attrition-based card, not a victory point card.
yeah, because it's not active, so you can just walk somebody into death, but you have to do it immediately, right?
Yeah, because they're non-activated means if you just move them, they can move back. So it's either a quote-unquote stagger, right, to make them move back, or, again, you still don't have to play this on Mystique's turn. So
yeah,
if
you
Mystique's
can still
within 4,
use it as defense.
you steal identity
like,
towards someone else, and then they kill that model.
You'd be like, oh, I didn't kill you. You're still alive. Well, I'm going to pull you out of attack range of me, so that way it's effectively staggering you. Stuff like that.
I actually wonder if it's a little underpowered.
I think it is underpowered. I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
I like it, though. It's a good change.
Yep. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for removing the restricted portion of deception in exchange for some power level.
I really dislike that they changed the name. Like, why didn't they just errata it? That doesn't make sense.
No shit.
I'm going to give it an 8 as well. For all the
I think
reasons
they wanted to. I think they want to distance themselves from the old effect.
So this way, it's not an errata. They don't have to errata.
No. I think it's a psychological thing. There's a thing called a pseudo nerf. I don't know if you've experienced this in video games, but they basically say it's like, oh, like this character in League of Legends, like Olaf is doing too much damage with his real reckless swing, so we're gonna nerf it. So they put up a thing, Olaf reckless swing nerf does less damage now, but it's like 0.3% less damage. But because people have heard in their minds, and it's in there, oh, he does less damage now, it's not so bad. They just stop caring, and it's like in their head it's okay, and so they just move past it. Like that's how they get away with shit like that all the time. And so that's why sometimes there's like pseudo nerfs in games. It's like, oh, well, all we need to do is tell people it's not so good anymore, and they'll calm down. And it actually works. So I wonder if that's what this is. Deception is like, Deception was hated so much, we just changed the name. It will get rid of all that like negative emotion towards the card, and it'll be a whole new card. Okay. Even though it's really the same card. Anyway, that's just a thought I had.
Okay, so AMG's batting 2 out of 5 so far. Let's go.
Yeah. Next card up, we've got Escort to Safety. I don't understand why this guy banned? That makes absolutely no sense to me. Do you think maybe it was because of the weird rule interaction? Like the canceling attacks thing?
No, because
You don't think so?
fucking Eye in the Sky does the exact same thing.
No, I know there's other cards that do as well. I'm just saying, do you think, like, the Helios laser getting used up by it, do you think that had anything to play with it, where they're like, we just need to get this out of the game? Okay. Then I don't know why it got banned then. That makes no sense.
So their stated goal was to get rid of as many, I'm kind of putting words in your mouth, as many unaffiliated cards as possible.
Okay. Well, you just ban all of them then. That's fine.
Sure. So here's a question for you guys. How many unaffiliated, non-restricted cards are left in the game?
Without looking at all, I would guess somewhere around 15.
Jeremy?
I have no idea. 10? 5?
The answer is 7.
Okay.
8 if you include Versatile Strategy. That's a very niche card.
Well,
so,
is it or is it not?
It is an unrestricted.
Okay, so there's
8. There is 8.
Why didn't they just clear
in terms
the slate,
of
then?
Inclusion in a generic list?
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to gerrymander the numbers over here.
So I'm thinking if I wanted to just pick, how many cards can I randomly go through for any generic list? The answer is 7, because you're not going to just randomly pick Versatile Strategy. Anyway.
Okay, that's just really weird.
So that's the reason a lot of these cards
Do you feel like he's trying to lie to us, Jeremy? I feel like he's trying to get one over on us. It's really weird. Why don't you just be honest?
I'm giving him a 2 for what he's trying to pull right now.
Aaron, you get a 1 from me. Okay. Just be honest. Say the actual number.
This nerf gets a 2 from me. There's no reason for this card to have gone.
I give it a 1. I actually really like this card. This was one of my favorite unaffiliated cards in the game that I would put in a lot. I really like playing it. And this, you know what this feels like to me? Is kind of like Seeing Red. You remember Seeing Red? It basically gave any character I've got your back. And it was a really fun, interesting card, and they just banned it. And I was like, why though? Like, I like this. It just makes no sense. If you don't want to have a bunch of tactics cards in the game, I have a secret tip for you, AMG. Stop printing cards. God damn it. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, be sad about it later.
I mean, at this point, it almost feels like
280 fucking cards in the game. You're like, we need to ban these 7. Like, why? It doesn't matter.
I'm going to give it a 6.
Ooh, you like it being banned.
Yeah, I think that it's yet another defensive tech piece that I would like to see the game be 70% offensive. Instead of, you have to have these defensive tech pieces all the time. I actually hate those cards. I hate it when it stacks with Gwen and stacks with whatever, and I'd rather see the game be offensive.
So you're saying you're just worried that because other cards have gotten banned, they'll put this in, and you'll have to play against it more often?
No.
Or is this just because you have only ever pulled this card off once?
No, that's not.
It has nothing to do with that.
No.
Be honest.
No.
Look me in the eye.
No.
He's not looking at me. Audience, he's not looking.
No, I don't like, just like before, I don't like healing cards, and I also don't like this defensive shit. Like, put it on the characters like it already is. Make people pay for that. That's fine. I think getting rid of it is just fine. I
get what Jeremy's saying. I can actually agree with it. For most good lists of the 4 cards of the 5 cards you take, at least 4 probably should have been defensive in nature.
Yeah, I mean, every list is basically running some form of sack, patch up, fallback, and brace, right?
Right. As opposed to the, smash, joint effort, heave-ho, whatever combination of offensive cards you want to put together. Yeah. The defensive list is objectively better. And so what if we just took all the defensive cards and got rid of them? Well, then you could play your fun offensive cards.
Is it people's fault that they ban every good offensive card that they print?
Okay. Anyway, I was just saying
the only reason people play all the defensive cards is because they only print good defensive cards. All the good offensive cards are literally banned. They even banned fucking Battle Lust or whatever it was. Like, it's added. What did it do? Added 2 dice to 1 attack roll. Ban it. It's too good. Like, what are we talking about? Sacrifice, brace, patch up, med pack. Like, come on. Yeah. Field dressing was legal for 2.5 years.
Just saying, I understand where Jeremy's coming from. I can feel it.
Yeah, like more. I'm glad they got rid of it. They need to get rid of more of those. Bye-bye.
Okay. Eye on the prize. If this is the only one we agree on, it's good enough.
10.
Fucking get rid of this card. I play it and I hate it. This card is bad for the game.
I am gonna, in my gut, give it an 8. I think I'm bad. I think I'm happy it's gone, but I really want to see where the meta's at in 2 months. Like, Eye in the Sky in my mind was never the problem. It was the solution to the problem that was the super hyper attrition focused teams. How did they change? Not at all.
You mean except they lost Advanced R&D and Smash and a few other cards?
Spoiler.
Okay.
Sure, I don't know that they were really taking advantage of that. So I'm happy. For the most part, I'm happy Eyes is gone. But I really, in the back of my head, I'm like, but it's a good thing. I'm not sure.
I will give you that that Eyes is not exclusively used as a negative play experience, but it is so commonly done so. I get the fact that you're like, oh, you need to play Eyes so you don't get taken advantage of basically by super tempo lists. But guess what? If the only way to fucking play the game with an aggression type list is to play hyper aggro and hyper tempo and attack your opponent on the first turn because the fucking game ends on 3, get rid of this fucking card. Like, let us just play MCP and not have the entire game be 1 and 2.
That's why I'm an 8 and not a 10. Sorry, an 8,
10
not a 3, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm happy it's gone, but there's a reservation I have.
This is I think the best card on this list for me. This is 100%. I'm so happy that this was included.
Mine's R&D, but
I think this is a way better band than R&D.
Okay.
Both R&D and this one, in my mind, create the A environment that I was talking about earlier. Like,
yes.
This answered the problems that I had problems with real bad.
Them both being on here is unanimously good.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
If one but not the other would have been weird, both of them, 100% yes. All right. Next up, we have Face Me. Again, thank God they banned yet another offensive card, because I was really worried that offense was winning the game too often.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a 3 for me. I don't get it.
I'm going to adopt the Jeremy philosophy and give it a 1.
I'm going to give it a 2, just to spite you.
Nice. That's our lowest rating so far.
Is
6.
it?
Yep. 7. We had 7 on Advanced R&D.
Okay.
Or no, A Blackies, we had a 7.
My favorite part about that card is the fact that every once in a while someone would come out of the woodwork and be like, this card's awesome because X, Y, and Z. And they'd play it a few times and then it just disappears back in the pile.
It just turns out.
It just gets shuffled back.
My favorite thing that's ever happened in this game is, I think somebody is, what's his name? Oh, I'm going to remember in just a second. Chad Gar from Des Moines played Face Me against me. His Daredevil walks up to a secure point with my Spider-Woman and my Black Cat, and his Punisher was also on the point. So he moves long, stands on the point. I Spider Tracker Black Cat out of melee range. He wants to do Devil's Deliverance, so he plays Face Me on Black Cat, walks her back to the point. She Troublemaker's Punisher, staggers him, hits the elusive, walks back out of melee. And just like, I hate this game. I fucking hate this game. It was
what he meant was, I hate you.
It was legitimately one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen happen in the game. It's just like, I play 2 Dagdas cards and get fucked. Like, anyway, I love this card. It was one of the fun, like, Tactics cards left that was like off the walls, bonkers, crazy, but it was like kind of good, kind of bad. That was hard to use well. I actually really like cards like that, and they just keep banning them. It's like, if it isn't Brace and like something super consistent that's boring, ban it. I'm like, oh, whatever. I really like Face Me. I'm going to give this a 2.
I'm going to agree with you. It's a 2.
I'm going to give it a 1. I just don't get it.
New record 5.
I just don't get it. I don't get why this.
I don't get it.
Why
either.
the fuck? Like this, it has all like the things of just mass chaos, but it was usable. But no one really wanted to. But sometimes they would. Like, it doesn't make fucking sense why you get rid of this card.
All right, let's just run back through it real quick. How many ones have we agreed positively on? We have Advanced R&D,
Brace,
Deception. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
Deception.
Yep.
Eyes.
Yep.
We all agreed on Eyes. And Face Me. Okay. Heave Ho. Oh, wait. Face Me, we disagreed with. So no, it's just those 3. Heave Ho. I think we're unanimous on this one. 10. It's not the worst card in the game, but it's in the bottom 5.
Man.
Well, I'll give this a 7. Only because this is, I actually think, cleaning out bloat.
Exactly. I agree. I'm going to give it an 8 for that reason. I actually have come up with several ways to play it effectively as a challenge, but you might as well just burn it.
Yep.
The fact that I get to throw away 4 cards now is a bonus. Like, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8. Get rid of it.
There you
Trash.
go. There's our
Bye-bye.
4th.
There you go. 4. I'm going to keep track with these poker chips over here. All right. Moving on. We've got Inspiring Monologue. I give this a 1. This is my original favorite card in the entire game. I love this card.
What did I rate Face Me? I'm going to give it the same rating because this one was yet again a
You
card
gave it
that...
a 1.
There you go. It's fucking 1 because this was a card that was usable. It was exactly what it could be, and no one really used it that much, but it was still fucking good. Why would you get rid of something like that?
Remember when you said you hated defensive cards? No, how about this one? It's not a reactive defensive card.
Yeah.
It's a proactive defensive card. So you always had, it was basically you're playing the mind game of, I'm going to put this protective thing on my guy. Now the ball's in your court.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and punch through it? Do you want to okay, well, I'm going to bring up Venom. I'm going to play Mark for Death. I'm going to do all this stuff. Like, there's counterplay to it. That's why I loved it. It was a great, 2 people are playing a game still, not just going, I play Sacrifice, your thing doesn't work. You're like, okay, fine.
I'm going to give this a 6. And only because Freya's Blessing is coming out next month. That does 90% the same thing as card only. So if they're going to take a card and put it in an affiliation and take it out of unaffiliated, I think I'm okay with that.
Well, if it's the same card, then...
Freya's Blessing is objectively better. It happens in the power phase.
It is. And it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not okay with having a worse version of a card that's unaffiliated?
I mean, I would be. That's why it's a 6, not a 10. Like, I think I'm okay with getting rid of this card. I don't really care either way. But I'm leaning towards being okay with the MG here.
Judas. All right, moving on to kick them when they're down. Again, I hate this change. This was a cool, interesting card that some factions could really leverage. I thought it was a really interesting way to bring... you could bring a list of a bunch of little people that could apply negative effects and then try and wear down a big guy. I really like this card from a functional standpoint. I've seen this used in high leverage moments too. This was really popular to be used with X-Men and stuff and Guardians for a while. I disagree with this, but it's not the end of the world. I'll probably give this probably a 3.
I'm going to give it a 2. I think that it was a cool card that did a cool effect that most people didn't use, and when you did use it, it was for specific things, and it was just fine and played exactly how it should, and truly, I keep thinking the world is a worse place without it. Yeah, I don't like that.
This
It takes
when we were
options
talking
off the
earlier,
table.
this is why I said I don't think the game's in a better place now, because I think the creativity is taking a hit.
It's a 4 for me. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm concerned that with Apocalypse right around the corner and a bunch of condition-based stuff happening, is this future-proofing to where they're it's going to be too strong in the next 3 to 4 months? Or so I agree with you guys where the game's at now. There's no reason to get rid of this card, but I'm gonna hedge my bets a little bit with the 4 to say maybe there's something coming down the road.
Odd feeling that Apocalypse and the 4 Horsemen might not need Kickin' when they're down, but I'm a naive child. So
again, what they're doing is culling every unaffiliated card they could think of.
Sure.
So,
I mean,
it's an affiliate, get rid of it.
If the goal is to invalidate as many of their releases as possible, they're doing a great job. We're going to move on to the next card now, Kunlun Training. Again, I loved this card. It was a card I used many a times against Jeremy. He hated it. It was always fun. It's just recal for the attacker, right? So yeah, it's good.
I'm going to give this one Go ahead.
I really liked leveraging this card with webs specifically. It sucked that it cost 4 power. That was a big deal, don't get me wrong. But they already had such a premium defense that by the time you did leadership reroll, spider senses, cover, all that shit, you were like, well, I have 2 or 3 blocks. So why would I want to recal? Because I'm going to give up all my good blocks when I could just then play Kunlun and make them reroll their attack dice, and it was way fucking better. I really liked it.
I'm going to give it a 7 for the same reason we got rid of. We were happy getting rid of. I forget which one we got rid of. Old man brain. Like
Recall?
recall already exists. So
It's actively different for the
I
reason I just
understand, but for
Okay. I give
simplicity
it a
and
3.
game bloat, like you don't need 4 versions of recall that all do something
God
slightly different.
forbid we have 10 unaffiliated cards to choose from. God forbid.
It'd be the end
There's
of the world.
200. Hold on, I'm looking it up now. I'm officially looking it up. How many Tactics cards? 320. The problem is not Kunlun training.
Are you sure it's only 320? I
That's
showed
what it says on here.
317. So yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, 320-ish. They're on season 3, and like, they have a problem.
Standard timeline 272. So there's 272 legal cards right now.
Yeah. Thank God Kunlun training's gone. We fixed the problem, guys.
I'm going to give it a 6. I think that
If
it
you're gonna
is
do-
slightly bloat. I don't really...
If you're gonna do it, do it. Nuke the whole thing. Don't tell me you're fixing the game by banning Face Me.
If these cards were in a pile, I agree. If these were in a pile that said we're getting rid of all the unaffiliated cards, my numbers would be entirely different.
Yep.
But this
Warpath.
pick and choose shit is weird.
Oh, I guess Warpath is okay.
So
There's so
go
many.
ahead.
I could
cards.
absolutely get behind a get rid of all unaffiliated cards
Yes, I would
with
too.
some caveats.
I don't think that helps the game though. Like that, their blanket sweeps like that isn't doing anything. The problem with bloat is all the stupid fucking character specific cards that are hot dog shit.
Sure, I would also be okay with a complete cull of, let's say, another 55 to 70.
Yeah.
So it could take them out of my travel case. But yeah, although that's technically on me since I keep bringing them.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Marked for Death. I'm pretty sure we're going to be unanimous here. I'm giving this a 1. This is an actively good card that was helping the meta. There's no argument that banning this card made the meta better.
I agree. I'm giving it a 1 as well.
I'm trying hard to come up with a reason not to give it a 1. So hold on, just bear with me.
Okay. Call Will Pagani. He'll help you. Phone a friend.
Okay, fine, I'm with you.
I'll say, don't hurt yourself. It's not really worth it.
We have a record, everyone. Marked for Death. We got a score of a 3.
Yeah, I cannot believe they rotated this card.
It boggles the mind. All right, moving on. Mission Objective. My only positive thing to say about this card getting banned is it didn't work on most steals anyway, at least. So maybe there's a new mission objective coming that will work on steals. Other than that, it's just ignorant. I don't know why. I hate this card personally. Like, I hate playing against it. I hate playing with it, but I think it's good for the game.
So I'm gonna have Jeremy go first. I still have thoughts, lots of thoughts.
I think it was a card that allowed for smart play. Whether you're passing it back or drop, whatever, moving it around. I think it. The only reason I don't like it is because everyone played it, and a card like that should go. There's no reason to have something that everybody plays, and I'll say that about Brace for Impact 2. I wish that was gone too. It's in the same category.
I think it being restricted is fine. I think there's a strong argument to make mission objective restricted.
Then that, fine, whatever.
And that's only because if you value not losing your objective so much, like what I would personally like to see happen, mission objective prevents stealing as well, and have it be restricted. I think that would have been a good change. But yeah, so, I think I give this a 2. This is a bad change for the meta.
My lens is highly colored by the fact that my most recent competitive play was in Sentinels. Mission objective was stapled to their 10 because when there are cards like this is a robbery that auto fucking throws a size 5 Sentinel into its team, you needed to avoid that at all costs. Because this is a robbery is still a legal card and mission objective isn't, I'm like, what the flying fuck, AMG? I don't understand. So only because this robbery exists, I highly disagree with the culling of this card.
I mean, just factually, we can talk about this really briefly. There's no reason robbery did get touched here. Like, it actually touched.
Well, it actually did get touched. We'll talk about that later. But
no, but the card is the same. Like, that card needed to be fixed. It did not get fixed.
We'll come to that, but I agree with you. Yeah. So because robbery still exists, this change is probably a 2, but it'd be a 7 without it for all the reasons Jeremy alluded to. I love when you kill people, they die and they give your shit to you. Like, here's my reward for killing you, right? Let's do away with patch up embrace. Like, I'm gonna put damage on you and shit's gonna happen. I'm totally
I'd
okay
probably
with if the game were to go that route. It just can't exist in a world where robbery doesn't or does.
Yeah, I'd probably be like a 6 if robbery didn't exist. I think if how about this? If we are talking about mission objective, excluding things that steal from you, not getting killed, I think I want this card out of the game. But because like voodoo and robbery, other effects like that exist, I think this card is almost necessary. It was one of the few things keeping everyone from just playing models that knock things off of you. Next up,
I think that's the most interesting card that we have or potentially we'll talk about. Anyway, go ahead.
Mission objective?
Yeah.
Certainly the most like back and forth. Like it's kind of an interesting card because I think it was liked and hated by a lot of people.
Yeah, like that's the card that I think is going to shake up how games play out more than any other than the obvious R&D and eyes. And
that's part of the reason I hate it is because like there's a card that directly contributes to the point of the game. It's like, well, that's obviously the best card. So what are we talking about? Yeah. So next up we have No Matter the Cost. I have a love-hate relationship with this card.
Yep.
But I'm happy it's gone. So I'd probably give this a 6. I think there was really cool things you could do with it, but much like Advanced R&D, those were almost never the reasons it was actually played.
I was going to say, I think the... Go ahead, Jeremy, you first.
I was going to say, I would have loved to seen this attached to like X... what are they called?
Weapon X.
Weapon X. Yeah, I would love to see this be just a Weapon X card, and then it would be awesome. The fact that anyone can use it, I'm glad it's out of the game. It opened too many doors. I'm going to give that like an 8.
I'm with Brandon. I give it a 6. The Turn 1 gimmicks of like, oh, you stole my like back F, so I guess Miles gets to walk up Venom Blast and just get it off of you for free Turn 1. Yeah, that needed to go. But there were some really cool things it enabled that weren't necessarily gimmicks. But like I would often take this card as just my get out of jail free. Like, whoops, looks like I'm 2 power low to be able to do this. Have this cool turn. Like, okay, I'll take 2 damage to be able to roll a bunch of dice and see what happens. And I think that was the intent for the card. And I used the card that way often. But for the health of the game, I still think I'm okay with it going. So it's a 6.
I sadly don't think this was actually an intentional ban. I think this was a leftover, like, CGR nerf that was just still on the books.
Once they increased his cost to whatever the fuck it is now, this is fine.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying, I think they wrote this on a piece of paper at some point during the what do we do about CGR? I think it just never got taken off the piece of paper. And they're not doing a lot to convince me otherwise. All right, next up, 1-2 Punch. I'll give this a 6 just because of bloat. I'll agree with them that this card is bloat.
8 for same reason.
I'll go 7 just because I'll land in the middle. Same reason.
So how about this? Can you explain to me how the 2 most printed cards in the game ever both just got banned because there's too many printed cards in the game? You wanna try and give me some circle logic for that?
If I had some, I would gladly give it to you.
Oh my god! All right.
How many times was 1-2 Punch printed? I
think 3. There was definitely a Sentinel printing. There was an original printing. It was in the new card pack.
You are correct.
And so if you count that, there's at least 3.
It was, yeah. You're right.
I think Heave Ho is 4.
They kept pushing it on us, and we're like,
nope,
get that out of here.
Okay. All right. If we disagree on this next one, I'm going to be sad. Psychic Shielding Device. I might have been the only person at WTC to play this, but I was.
Oh my god.
I like this card. I think it's good. I love that the whole concept of it, that it's a range X. You can play it with anybody. It can shield other people. It stops pushing. It slows down mystic attacks. I love the entire concept of this card. I wish we had more cards like it. The fact that it is banned bottles my mind. It gets my thoughts all trapped like in a bottle. I'm going to give this a 1.
I think they thought it was a bloat card when in fact it's actually a pretty clever and interesting card that I wish got played more. And every time it got played against me, I kept asking myself, why am I not playing this? It's really good. I'm on the line with it. I'm going to give it a 4 because it probably should not have left the game. I think that there was play space for it.
I'm a 3.
I mean, I'm all for cleaning up what people believe is bloat. How do you think this card is bloat?
So this card makes
you brought
2% of rosters.
Sure. So if you brought in an outside person, put them in a room and said, we need to cut out some cards, which one should we cut out? And they just sorted by number of times played, then I get it. But this card is useful. Like, it is good. The fact that people don't play it means that the meta doesn't ask for it, which means you should probably look at the meta more than fucking just banning the lowest played thing. Maybe it's because the meta doesn't play Mystic Attackers at all, because why the fuck would you ever play someone who attacks?
There you go. Now you're making sense.
All right. I don't actually know this next card. Did we already give numbers? We did. All right.
Yeah.
Red Room Training. I don't actually know this card. I assume
I feel like it just came out.
Yeah, it's new-ish. It's like Winter Guard.
They're like, oops.
Honestly, had reactive. Start of the activation phase. Ally character spend 2 to play it. Character gains stealth till the end of the round. And then explains what stealth is. Yeah, this card sucks. It's real bad, but it at least does something. Yeah, I'm fine with this being a bloat card. I give this a 6.
7. Maybe 8.
I'll give it an 8. I've never seen anybody play
Gaining stealth as reactionary coming out of the power phase, I think is relevant, but yeah, it's just never... There's too competitive at the tactics card slot. It's never going to get played.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Smash. Oh boy, I can't wait to hear Aaron scream the number 1. Aaron, you got some words?
So, I'm going to give it a 3. Only because I think the card was potentially too good in certain situations, like when you have a beam. Like, Hulk breaks something, all of a sudden the Thunderclap is really fucking enormous. Or even Dynamo. Fucking Pat smashed a car with Dynamo turn 2 in WTC last year. And was just like, how about your entire team get 7 dice beams to the face?
Yeah.
I'm like,
if you're doing like 4-person beams twice, like, dude, that's a lot of dice.
It was a lot of dice. Yes, he killed people and shocked people, and it really was it's just for the shock, right? You just want to put as much shock out as you can. So like I said, there are some quote unquote degenerate playstyles with it. I really, really wish this had been made, let's say, Sentinel only.
I think that's a ridiculous request. I don't think there was ever any chance of that happening. And I also don't think it makes sense. Like, if anything, it should be Hulk only. Like, that's crazy. I will say, how about this? What if it went to X cost, and X was the size of terrain you destroyed? So it was way more incentivized for regular people to play it. Like, you could have a rapid fire person smash a lamppost, get 5 die rapid fires. Size 3 people spend 2, break a size 2. I think that would have made it. And so wait, if you're doing it with a Sentinel, it costs 4. It's a little bit more costly. It's less likely to happen automatically on turn 2. I think it's a lot more fair.
Sure.
I think maybe it sticks around. But the fact that it was the only offensive boost card that worked for the whole turn, as opposed to a single attack, yeah, I mean, it was clearly an outlier, but I think it's more of a problem if the other offensive cards are just so dog shit.
Yeah, I like the fact that there was set up to it. Like, I don't know how many times I played either Sentinels or Hulk, and my opponent would then clearly like double move and throw the size 4 I was next to, just so I didn't smash it. So I thought it made, because you had the telegraph, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm giving up an attack just so I can walk and then smash and then get 1 attack. So I thought it was interactive in that way, and so I'm a little sad that the interactions, player interaction, if you will, is kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mind the degenerate play of the card being gone. It's kind of like a no matter the cost, right? In that regard. So I'm at a 5 on this. I can't make up my mind.
You went from a 1 to a 3 to a 5?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to give this a 3. I think, like I said, I would like to see changes to the card. I think it was a little too good, and it was only good with specific models. But outside of that, I actually think it was a good card for the game. So I didn't want to see it banned. I would have liked to have seen maybe an update to it, but the fact that it's just gone is like, we're just, again, making the game more obvious and solvable.
I'm going to give it a 3. I think that the game is worse without having it in it. I think that Marvel dice are a thing. So you could roll 20 dice and not get shit. So, like, it never guaranteed anything. And it was always awesome when you could pull something off with a big model and you could have a good turn with the big model, which were so limited in how much they were able to do. I don't like a world where my monsters aren't smashing things.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things, I listened to them say this on the cast, one of the best things about the game is the big smashy dynamic moves. Like you pick somebody up, throw them in a building, take a building, throw it into them. Like this, the dynamic visual appeal of this card is like, yeah, Hulk picks up this semi-car, rips it in half and beats you to death with it. Like, that's cool. That's why we got into this game. It's like, no, we'd much rather you just stand on objectives. Like, whatever.
He throws
All
people
right, next
off
card.
objectives.
Next card, we have Sucker. As much as the Bob likes this card, I am fine with this being bloat. I'll give this a 7. This card, if it got a redesign to be better, like it only works on injured characters. It's so weird. Like this card is terrible, honestly, but I understand the reasoning behind it.
Listen, if you've never had Ultron 1 run a train on you 3 years ago, 4 years ago, then you don't understand. This card was broken as fuck.
There was a 6-month period where this card was in 90% of rosters. And I think everyone knew that was the case.
There's only
it's just
14 models in the game, and one of them was an Ultron that always came back to life.
If you could, like, sucker Immortal Hulk, like, I'd actually be on board with this card. But it as is, it's functionally not, it doesn't exist. All right, next up. Tactical Maneuvers. This card is terrible. It's so much worse than Kunlun Training, even though they're mirrors of each other. It should cost 1 or 2, and then maybe it'd be playable. It's just bad. I'm fine with it being gone.
Yep, this is a 9.
Just because, like, defense dice are so bad already, and re-rolling them without future mods is even worse. Like, it's just so bad. Yeah, I'd probably give this an 8.
9. Done. Send it.
Mm-hmm. Moving on. Oh, wait. Got it. We all agreed on Sucker, right?
Yeah.
I gotta mark the agrees. The Red Room Training we agreed on.
Yep.
1-2 punch. Okay, we're caught up. Next one up, we have The Age of Ultron. I imagine we're going to disagree on this one.
Ooh, we might.
I'm going to give this a 2. I really like this card for thematic reasons. And there's no question that Ultron 1 is balanced around this card. I think Ultron 2 is even kind of balanced around this card. I'll admit that Ultron 2 is probably a little ahead of the curve, but they've shown in the past that they'll just update cards like that. And so why... I guess there's this. Of all character-specific cards that are integral to character use, this is the only one I'm aware of that got banned. And there's other cards that clearly should have been fucking banned that are way better than this card. And so this is just, once again, them showing that all they want you to do is turtle and play scenario. And so that I think that change is directly bad for the game.
I'll go with a 5. I think it needed to go. It was too strong on Ultron 2. But Ultron 1 is now entirely dumpstered.
Yeah,
so
away.
That's not cool.
Yep.
I'll go with 7. I think specifically with Ultron 2 and even Ultron 1, I'll go with both of them. This made that model uninteractable. Like there was almost zero reason for me to ever attack an Ultron with this card. It was just fucking stupid. It just made them Immortal Hulk.
They're not, though. Like, they weren't even as strong as Immortal Hulk on his own without patch-up. I've killed Ultron 2 through this card multiple times.
Well, you're I'm not the savant.
But when you bring nothing but 3-point stealers, yeah, it's a lot harder. But when you play models that actually deal damage, it's not impossible. His defensive stats are not crazy. He just got a decent amount of hit points.
I'll concur with that. But going through Ultron 4 times is no small task.
Sure, I don't disagree at all. It's an investment, but sometimes it's worth the investment.
Sure, I just don't like...
the more important thing, when you force him to just hold 8 power for a long period of time, it's like, okay, I've injured you. You've got 10 power, let's say. okay, are you going to activate and spend it and then I can kill you? And they go, no. And so they have to end their turn with like 5 power. So it really limits what he can do. I think there was ways to play around it even if you don't kill him.
I concur. Like, for my best way to play around it was just to set him up for the key daze on, let's call it turn 3, right? And I'm never going to kill him, but I'll daze him when I need to score the VP, and just know that I'm never going to kill him. But that still sucks. Like, I don't like Immortal Hulk for that reason. I don't like this card. I don't like Deal with the Devil. Like, all of those interactions can just go, as far as I'm concerned.
But they didn't.
Huh?
They didn't. They only did this one. Deal is actively better than this card.
It doesn't matter. This is step 1. Step 2 is Deal, and step 3 is Immortal Hulk. I can't be mad at them for doing step 1.
Why did Deal need to stay?
Say what?
Okay, but that makes no sense from AMG's perspective. If that's what you want, AMG has just shown that they're not going to give you that. Like, there's no reason not to ban Deal at the exact same time.
Sure, but I'm just looking at this card in a nutshell by itself. Okay. A vacuum.
All right. Next up, we have Trip Up.
I thought
Does anyone even care?
Well, I think the world was a better place with this card in it, even though nobody ever took it.
I agree. I actually played this a fair amount when I would play less attrition-based teams or just not tall. And I knew I was weak against tall people. I actually like this card more than Disarm. I almost never played Disarm over this.
This is the one you have to do damage, right?
Yeah, you have to pay ahead of time and only get an effect if you do damage. So, yeah, fuck this card. 9, get the fuck out of here.
No, I agree that all of the cards that require you to do damage and pay in advance were bad. But I like the mechanics of it, where you had a couple people team up on one guy and you could just stagger him.
It did take a lot of work. I'm going to get rid of this one. 8.
Okay. I don't know if I already said it. I'd said 3. I actually like this card.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Warpath. I've never seen this card played except for the first time that somebody had it and they thought it worked differently. I think this is a bulk card. I think I give this a 7.
Ooh, I'm on the opposite side. I've seen it played. I think it's an interesting niche tech for being able to like spend 1 to get aggressive on your character. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's bulk. So I'll give it a 3. Yeah, it just gives them aggressive.
I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay, it is at least after. I thought you had to pay when you were being attacked, but
no.
Sure. I don't think this is worth tactic slot, but I agree that moving towards person who just attacked you is not a bad thing. I just don't think anybody ever plays it. All right, final one. We've got Exceptional Healing. 10. This is 100% need to happen.
So what has it become?
The new card is after you suffer damage, after the attack is resolved, you heal 2, which is completely fucking different. It only playable with healing factor models. You have to suffer 1 or more damage from an enemy effect. After the effect is resolved, you may spend 3 to heal 2. So you can still get dazed in the middle. So you have to actually be alive at the end of the effect. It completely invalidates the original purpose of the card, which is good because you should never have been immune to attacks. It fixes pretty much all of my problems with the card but it makes it back to kind of the original point. Is like if you're trying to live through something, it gives you a better chance of doing that. Like if you injure Wolverine, flips over, we go next turn, I have priority, and Wolverine's trying to live through that. I hit you with the first attack, you immediately play this card, go back 2 more health. So you basically have 8 health on the back, but you have to not get one-shotted.
What's it called?
Instant recovery. It's the way you thought it worked originally, which is you can stop it with Grievous Wounds.
Well, thank God Grievous Wounds didn't get banned.
Yeah, thank God.
Finally, fuck yeah.
Do we get numbers from you guys?
Finally get to hear the classic, wait a second, I'm going to play Grievous Wounds.
Yeah. I'll give it an 8, maybe 8.5.
There's no halves. Pick a number.
Fine, it's an 8.
No one's ever going to quote you on this. Just give a number. God damn it. 3.7984. Shut up.
I guess I am pretty happy that Exceptional's just gone. Yeah. I think Instant Recovery is pretty dog shit. At its best case scenario, it prevents a model from dying because you play it after their first attack, you take damage, you heal it back. Yeah. They attack you again, they don't kill you. But would have without that. That's the ceiling. The floor is you play it, and they kill you anyway.
Yes.
And then the mid-ground...
Exactly.
The mid-ground is you play it after the second attack to auto-heal 2.
Yeah.
And so
it's a mini med pack.
Right. So it's a conditional med pack, right?
Yeah.
Spend 3, heal 2.
I think it's still actively a good card. It increases the longevity of your model without just completely locking the door on people saying you can't kill me. Like clearly the original intent was not what they got because the card was way too strong. Yeah. So this version of the card I think is much closer. I think it is underpowered, but it's much closer to what it needed to be.
I agree with
the previous version was so fucked that like it did matter. We had to completely change the card. It was way too strong. And so like this brings characters like X-23 back down into normalcy. Characters like Logan might not be impressive anymore. Like we have to wait and see, but yep. I think it's still really good because if you say Logan has 8 hit points, it's still fucking hard to kill him.
So to sum up the meta changes, if we will, it boils down to 3. Advanced R&D, Eyes, and Exceptional got banned. Everyone else proceed and go forth.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that sums up Mini Extravaganza for MCP in a nutshell, right?
A mission objective is probably worth noting.
Yeah, mission objective. There's 4 cards that got banned.
I think,
and no matter the cost. No matter the cost was a staple.
Yeah, no matter the cost is pretty big.
That's why I was saying.
So like I counted up.
I think they did a good job.
We counted up 9 out of 25 we agreed with in a positive way. But probably about as many we disagreed should have been banned.
So that goes back to like why they did this, right? Their objective was to cull as many unaffiliated cards as possible with 7 really fucking random exceptions.
I mean, personally, I'd rather them worry about the stagnant meta than worry about banning fucking cards nobody plays. That seems like a waste of time.
So that'll tie into my closing thoughts on everything in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And it ties back into Josh's comments of they're not fucking worried about the meta. That's not why they're doing this. But they are doing this, right? So it's clear that they're playing just the tip with the meta. Like, we're going to get rid of Eyes and R&D, but we're going to keep in, Grievous Wounds, and we're not going to restrict fallback. So it's just fucking weird. What really gets me, the biggest negative I have about it, so again, I'm an overall positive. I think those 5 cards being banned is exciting for the game. However, I think they did a bunch of affiliations really dirty because with the other 15 cards that they got rid of, and those were the ones we disagreed with, that was some of the space to innovate.
60.
That wasn't great, but you could still dive down there and find a place to play Warpath with Sabretooth 1. So now you attack him at range 4, you're like, oh, you can't get me. He's like, oh, now I can. Pay a power, I aggressive again, now I can attack. Right? There were corner cases to play these cards in affiliations that didn't have their own cards to use, right? So when you get rid of all the unaffiliated cards in the game, well, you damn well better have some really good character and affiliation cards.
Right.
How many cards does... well, whatever. I won't play questions, but like Shield has 9. Winter Guard has 2. Guess which one's a better affiliation?
Well, I mean, you didn't have to tell me the cards to know which one's better affiliation. I don't think all affiliations are created equally because the devs have said they're not. And so I don't think that's a question we can have. But the way I look at the game is basically there's the have and the have-nots, right? Like, and so you can lump the mid-tier, the low-tier, whatever you want all together. Then there's the tier that is considered the competitive tier. And you can break that up however each individual person believes it should be split up. That doesn't matter. Now, I think with your point earlier, I think the game is in a better place functionally because this ban list, like we agreed on 9 of the cards, that should have been taken away. And so we agreed on almost half the list. That's probably a good thing. But the reason I don't want to agree with it is the way I'm looking at it. Do you think the haves and the have-nots are closer together now or further apart?
I think they're further.
I think they're further apart as well. And that's why I think it was a bad change.
Okay. I just really think if they were worried about game balance and meta, like Jeremy said, make no matter the cost, just fucking put an errata on it that says it's unaffiliated as Weapon X. Smashes Sentinels. Something else can go to Dark Dimension. Right? There's no need. They could have tweaked some of them to make them a little better or worse.
You gotta stop saying smashes.
Smashes Sentinels! I will never stop that.
That doesn't even make sense.
It makes great sense. Big robot smash.
It doesn't.
Maybe
why are the Sentinels destroying the city? It doesn't even make sense.
Kick 'em becomes a Hydra card because that's who took it anyway.
Sure,
like,
I'd be fine.
There were lots of
things.
Be
a criminal card, really, but yeah.
Whatever. There were lots of little levers they could have pulled with very little I want to say thinking, but effort.
This feels
if they
really
were worried about balance in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
and it's clear that they weren't, and just that the little heart I have on the inside that was holding out a little hope just died. So anyway,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I know I'm probably coming off sour grapes, but it's just how I feel. I can't hide it. But like, I'm agreeing with you right here. Like, when they changed Dune Prophecy to be Asgard only, like, that felt like a, hey, look, they're like putting thought into this. Like, they came up with a clever way to keep this card in the game and have it still be relevant. And then this just felt like phoned in, doesn't really care what's going on, just pulling levers, pressing buttons, and not really giving a shit what's going on. And so that's why it feels so bad. It's like nothing here feels elegant, well thought out for the changes. It just feels like they were just doing stuff to do stuff.
I just also hate the fact that they feel like they need to wait for a mini extravaganza to, ban R&D. Like, that was probably decided months ago that the game would be better without it. So instead, we just get to sit and gobble cock for 4 months while we're waiting for an event to release something that's better for the game.
I actually hard disagree with that. I'd much rather it come all at once. Logistically speaking, I think it's better for the game. You don't want to have like people checking their phones every Monday night to see what's changed and what hasn't. Like, I think it's good to have like, this is basically saying the season of this season of MCP season 6 is going to be with these current changes, and then new stuff will come out during the year. And then next year we'll have an update, and then it'll be season 7. I think that's the best way to do it. If you want to say that you want to see more frequent updates, I think that's a fair argument.
Sure.
But I'd much rather it be at set intervals. Every 6 months, every 12 months, whatever it happens to be, I think that's the best way to do it. Because there's games that update frequently and commonly, and I fucking hate it. It's so annoying.
If it's on a weekly basis, I completely agree with you. I do not want instant.
Even monthly, like 40K right now, yeah. I believe they do every 3 months. There's a change. Every 3 months they do a points update, and then the next 3 months they'll do a rule update. And so every 3 months your shit changes. So if you're like, oh, I want to buy this new faction, well, but the update comes out in a month, so I guess I'll wait. And then like something happens. It just all that matters at that point is you're waiting for the next rule update. I fucking hate that.
I agree. You should never be looking forward to, well, it's not playable now, but I'm just going to wait for the next one. But the 2-year cycle AMG's on is too long.
It's 1 year.
They change models once a year and tactics once a year, alternating years. So each one gets a change about every 2 years.
But we got characters like 3 years in a row.
Did we?
Yeah.
2022, 2024?
Oh, we didn't in 24.
Oh, sorry, 21 and 23.
23. Yeah. 1, 2, and 3, we got character updates. They made a huge deal about saying, don't expect this every year, and then they followed through on that. But
I had to look back on timing.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we did, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I know we got them in back-to-back years. I think it was 3 in a row, though. Because the first 2 years, there were no updates. They said how much they didn't want to change things.
So moving on to the characters we're not going to talk about, which one, without any explanation, are you most and least hyped for?
The fourth one.
Fourth one.
You said with no information. I thought we were going to call it. You want to keep going?
Just tidbits.
Okay. All right. Fine. He
got excited. He got all worked up.
Yeah.
I had a plan. Did you read the show notes?
There's literally zero argument to not have it be Apocalypse, so I'm going to say Apocalypse.
That's where
I care not. Actually, if you want to say what I'm most excited to play, it'd be Dracula.
Okay. My most hype is Werewolf by Night, and least is Sunspot.
Mm-hmm. I think Dracula looks fun.
Jeremy,
least excited?
Were you hyped or unhyped about anything that you may or may not tangentially have looked at or heard?
Doesn't care.
Okay.
Apocalypse is about 75 paragraphs too many.
Yeah, I think that's just a big joke to me. I think that any character that is so complicated, you have to read it like 4 times and look at several different cards and line it all up, I think is something that I'll have to see happen to me before I even look at it.
You have to read 6 cards that all contain a minimum of 2 paragraphs to know how to play Apocalypse.
Nope, that seems stupid.
Yeah, I think it's a bit much. The biggest problem for me is like when you play that against a new player, which is going to happen. The guy's like, what is going on? And it's like all this stuff is interacting back and forth. It's like, I have no idea what's happening. And they're just going to get rolled and not like it and hate the game.
So this game was very, very exciting when Infinity War was finished and the movies were just kicking ass and it was just amazing. And I feel like the models Werewolf by Night, I really loved that show and what Disney did with it. So all of those models I'm very excited about. I like to kind of like pair the shit up with something that's really cool and on the Disney Plus and all that. So that'll be cool. I'm into that.
Yeah, I'm excited for, what's his name, Dracula, because he seems like my playstyle. He's like big, scary model, but he also has a lot of healing. I think vampires and like models that heal are like really cool mechanics. So in general, I'm excited about him. I hope his team will be fun to play too. I haven't really looked too hard at them.
Cool.
Better have Nemesis Blade.
But I have like 2 years before I have to worry about that. So.
Okay. Well, I want to reiterate, I think we're kind of down on a lot of things. I'm still very happy to try to build new lists and a new meta and meet up on Thursdays and see how things shake out.
I'll be there on Thursdays. Don't worry.
Good.
I think the game's in a better place, and yeah.
Oh yeah. Do we want to give a rating on the card rotation? We gave ratings on the cards. Do you want my rating on the rotation?
I do, Brandon. I want your rating.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say no.
But you have to call it a cull, not a rotation.
Cull? But it's literally labeled rotation.
That doesn't mean it's right.
Rotation.
Nope. It's a cull.
I rate the culling of Aaron's children at a 2.
2.
Yeah, because you still have 2.
I'm going to give it a 7. Again, it absolutely met my expectations. It took
the whelmingness.
3 of the 5 most egregious gimmicky cards out of play. How is that not an overall win? Despite not being what I wanted it to be, I knew it wasn't going to be that. So, yeah, we're going to be thumbs up, 7 out of 10.
What was the 5th? I know robbery is one of them that they could have done something. What was the other one?
Spirit of Wakanda.
Oh, I gotcha.
I don't know if he's counting those 2, but I definitely was.
What did you say? I didn't catch that card.
Spirit of Wakanda.
Oh, Spirit. I think Spirit's totally fine. Once you get rid of R&D.
Okay, so what was your cards that they didn't touch you thought they should?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I was saying that they did touch the 3 to 5 most egregious.
Oh, 3 to 5.
What are the other 2?
Yeah, 3 to 5. They got rid of them. I'm like, I'm really happy to explore the new world without those cards in them. And that Spirit was touched because of R&D, right? So
yeah. So
I'll agree with that, but it's not away. It still exists. I would argue without advanced R&D, it's harder to deal with that stuff, but we'll see. I think Spirit's still going to be there. It's just going to be a little less potent, which is a good thing. But I still see. I never viewed Wakanda as in the top 3, so I don't think the top 3 has really changed at all. It's just, again, the next best tier got knocked down somehow.
I will give the updates an 8 if they would have gotten rid of robbery. I probably would have.
That would have
or a 10.
Oh, we didn't talk about the errata. Do you want to talk about this real quick?
No, I think we say that for next time.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to.
That's
fine.
Pretty over time. Yeah, let's do that next time. Alrighty. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our salt tank. It's been pretty great. This has been Brandon.
And Jeremy.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to The Gang Swallows Sadness.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
We did it.
My God, we did it.
I feel so happy and proud of us.
I mean, 201. Who would have thought, right?
Season 3.
Season 7.5. Here we are. 7.
I don't know if
3B.
There was like an hour-long conversation over how long we should make our seasons. Mm-hmm. And eventually we decided to, I don't know if you guys remember this. This is before Aaron. We said, let's just make it 100. That way we never have to worry about it. And now we're on season 3.
We apologize.
I'm so sorry.
It's real fucked up. Sorry, man.
Are you aware of, there's a Shane Gillis joke where he talks about his dad tweeting? Are you familiar with this?
I've seen him. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember that.
So I love the joke because like the old people don't understand social media. And so it's just like his dad made a Twitter account and he's really opinionated. So he just starts tweeting immediately. But he skipped the part where you need friends. And so he's got no followers. He doesn't like anything. It's no one sees his tweets because he's not in anyone's feed. And so he's just like, grumbly, and like just shouting it to the ether that nobody will ever see. It's like it's going to live on a server longer than humanity, yet no one will ever read it.
Oh my God. Hilarious. It's like on The Office when the one guy made a document for him to post his...
It's Creed's blog, and it's just a Word doc. He's just typing his thoughts, Creed's thoughts.
Yeah.
And he's like, all my loyal followers.
Yep. And it's like, you can also listen on Creed Thoughts, #Creed Thoughts. Oh, man. That's pretty good. I don't know how we forgot about the whole hog incident. I feel like...
I know, I felt so bad. That was such a miss. Oh, man.
There's just so many.
Because we quote that. We quote it so often, but it's
a whole fucking hog.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You just can't whole fucking hog.
That's like golden age of fucking Infamous right there. It's just ruining hogs. What if we just buried some cold meat? What would happen? And then we cut it up into small pieces and gave it to people to take home.
Yeah, when it's in the earth, it should cook itself, right? Isn't that how it works?
Oh, man. I think our 200 episode was well received. Considering we talked to 0 MCP.
I mean, it wasn't 0, was it?
I think it was basically 0.
Okay. I mean, I received fewer death threats this week than normal, so...
Well, that's true.
Call that a win.
Creed thoughts, just nobody was exposed to it.
If you don't pull the plug, ... It's like V from Vendetta shit.
Yeah. I still can't, I'm not over Parker's pizza. Like, I'm still upset about that.
Oh, yeah. That was
artichoke hearts and like mushrooms. Like, what?
I don't know who these people are who are throwing themselves on grenades. I just don't I don't know what Parker did for them or he taught them something.
How the hot dog toppings was the most controversial. People were ready to pull guns over the hot dog toppings.
and somehow chili didn't win. So
I know.
Wait, no, it didn't? I thought it did. No. Was it mustard? Oh, I thought for sure
it was. You
should have given. Now, if you had given me chili and cheese with that combination, I could have taken it down. Wow. So you really should have just done the brotherly thing and let me have it. That's true. We didn't even talk about Infamous this week, or Mojo this week. Let's see. Let me pull up the count. All right, first one was Jeremy.
Yes.
Although corn dog breading shouldn't count, even though I was going to name it.
Corn dog wins
Jeremy's got one.
Okay.
I know.
Good.
I think the important thing here is that I don't think Parker won any of them, so we're going to have a winner today.
Good.
All right. Car chase movies, I destroyed. I had double everyone else's votes combined.
Congrats.
Yeah, I know. I feel really good about that one.
It's kind of a white, trashy one to win, so I mean, that was in your court.
Exactly.
It really was. You nailed it.
Let's see. Pepperoni, bacon, and olives won the pizza toppings. Damn it. So Jeremy's going to win.
Booyah.
Hold on. Let's see. We got one more. Number 4 took it with claps, eating chips on the cast, and just play 4 threats. I don't remember who that was. Because all these are about us.
That's Aaron.
That was Aaron. Okay. So it was 1-1-2 for Jeremy. Do you have a Mojo World for this week, or should we pick one from the list?
It's hard without Parker because you kind of need him for these. You really
you need like the control group.
Yeah, you need the anomaly, like, really.
This is never we said we were going to do Summer Olympics, but we don't have to.
No, let's not. Man, I had some good ones too. I completely forgot. The last time we did video games, we did like systems, right? We did like Nintendo or something.
I believe we've done several video game topics. We could do video game categories, like types of games, like first-person shooters or RTS or whatever. Because there's only 3 of us, it's only 9 selections.
First-person shooters is good. Do you play shooters Aaron?
No. Well, I was suggesting that. Oh my god.
I don't think he does.
I was suggesting that
Jeremy's
we
in.
select the categories as our picks, not specific games.
Oh, the categories as
so
picks?
not to. Yeah, we wouldn't be drafting first-person shooters.
No.
We would be
I don't
like
that.
Jeremy's first pick could be first-person shooters.
No.
My first pick could be like real-time strategy, and then we.
I don't like that. No.
Now that was just an idea. Would
Yeah,
you like to do first-person shooters? Because
there's a lot
I
of
don't
them. They've been happening for a long
those.
time.
there's a
sports?
lot
What
that
about
are
sports
all
games?
the exact sports games. Again, I don't play sports games, but Blades of Steel.
Oh god, dude, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Ooh, best Mortal Kombat character.
Okay, we could do that.
See, and Aaron doesn't even.
We're all
Jesus Christ! Here
sure
he
we're
goes.
at least familiar of who
He's
they
not.
are.
He doesn't know.
He is. He
He's
is.
out.
Sub-Zero.
So see,
I've
we
got
already
one.
Alright, so
I've got
my
one.
first one is Sub-Zero.
That's not how that works.
Shit. I'm out.
I like the ones last week. I mean, as much as I hated them, I kind of liked them. Ooh, I got it.
Okay.
Best flavors of ice cream.
Okay. Fine with that.
I think we'll get some fights on that one. We know Aaron's. Plain chocolate, plain M&M. Plain.
Okay. All right, we got it. Now, are we going like brand specific or just in general?
If
Well,
you
it's
can go,
technically strawberry swirl from Bluebell. Are we like you're saying like
no, if
strawberry?
you call strawberry, it's going to be whatever all the strawberry is
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
we're not doing that.
Got it. Boom.
You're like any Ben and Jerry's. Oh, shut up. So, question, Aaron. Is there any other Judgment being played in NashCon other than the Sunday?
That depends. Would you like to play some on Saturday with whomever you choose?
Oh my god.
There's no other events.
Ugh.
It's gonna be a real fun time. You guys just sitting and waiting for Sunday.
Sounds like my LVO last year.
Yeah.
Or no, that was LVO. Yeah. Okay.
You could just start day drinking early on Saturday and enjoy a game of casual MCP.
Since when? Who's playing that? I don't know who
Well,
plays that.
by casual, I meant competitive. But once you lose round one, then it's casual.
No, it's not. I've been in loser bracket quite a bit, and those people are not by any means trying to play casual. They're trying
That's the
to
trick.
scratch their way back up to the surface.
That's the trick for 40K tournaments. Is like it's all about like the first round's wild card, right? But after the first round, it's winners brackets or tryhards. Middle tier like X and ones are salty tryhards, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then once you get below that, you usually have like kind of paying attention, still sober people, and then round 4 when you're 0-4, that's the sweet spot because
Yes.
that's the drunk people that were only there to have a good time,
Yep.
and that's when you have fun.
No, it has to be after the second loss. You have to lose twice.
Yeah.
If you lose
Yeah,
twice,
you have to be out.
you
Yeah,
get
have to
the
be hard
bracket.
out.
Yeah, if you're in
Yeah.
that, if
And
you're in
then
the
it's-
double loss, yeah, you're good. That's
The
smooth
interesting thing
sailing.
is seeing people transition between those categories. Where it's like started off try hard, became salty try hard, was kind of still sober, now is drunk and fine.
Just blasted.
Yeah, just fucking blasted.
Oh my god.
It's fine. What could go wrong?
I always remember playing War Machine and losing. You lose that first round to, whatever. And I'd always be like, that second round, you're like, oh my god, this is so much worse. This game is so much more important than the first one now.
You could, because you could still like place in
Yeah.
War Machine if you really squeaked it out, but it was hard. I think it was pretty. The good thing about War Machine that I liked when it came to like really competitive stuff, you could tell almost immediately what kind of opponent you were going to have.
Yeah.
Like it was so easy to identify them. As where in the games like 40K, I find it's actually harder to discern like who's here for fun and who's not. until something goes bad. Like, oh, like they shit the bed on an important roll, or, you know, like you killed their favorite model or something, and just all of a sudden it turns into salty sandwich, and you're like, please, no. Like, this is not what I wanted. But War Machine, you knew the whole time, like, okay, I'm up against the robot that doesn't know how to, like, emote, and so I'm just gonna have to suffer through playing against a robot, and it's fine. Or it's like, oh, this guy's just a salty asshole, we're just gonna move on. And then it was almost fun to play against them once you really knew what you were doing, because it was all about just triggering them. It's like, all I have to do is get him upset without being a jerk, and the game's over, because he will not be able to focus. It's like, I know that, like, he really hates it when you kill his warjacks. Like, all right, targeting the warjacks, and he would lose his fucking mind. Do you remember, Jeremy, the guy from St. Louis that played Signar? What was his name?
There's a lot of them.
Donald, I think.
Okay.
That guy was a rage monster.
Dude, there's
because in Mark II, you couldn't pre-measure. And so all you had to do was just put your guy in a spot where it looked like he could charge you, but he actually couldn't. And then he would try and charge you, fail, and literally, like, pick up his own models and break them. Like, okay. It's like, all I had to do is put a model 10.2 inches away from you, and he just concedes. Like, once you figure that out, it's an easy round.
I just saw you could always target the characters. Like, whoever took, like, oh, old Rowdy's on the table? Okay, kill that. And they just usually would have a meltdown because that's their favorite model.
Yeah, you took, like, the two buddies in the game, and you're like, oh, these guys, like, have a synergy bonus, and you just snipe one of them out, and they're like, bah! Like, come over the table.
Oh, no.
But I'd say even the really competitive play, like, the people that were really trying hard, usually, like, you had a pretty good game against them. Very rarely were you actually... It was always the X and 2 players that were, like, the social nightmares. That because they wanted to be better, but they really struggled to progress.
Yeah, the top half of the room was usually pretty good.
You were actually incentivized to keep winning because your opponents would be better.
Yes. Like, you're on the same wavelength. You know, it's not the guy shaking because he's, like, nervous about everything. Like, dude, relax. It's okay. Yeah. It's going to be okay.
There was, like, a mutual respect of, like, this game is very hard. Like, we're both at the final table. Like, we understand that, like, you've put the work in to be here. Like,
the only time I almost slipped, lost my mind, and killed somebody across the table in War Machine was when I was playing Danny Goodner, and he had a fucking troll leader. I think it was Borka, and he rolled, I think it was 5 tough
Stumbling
checks.
drunk? Oh,
5 tough checks on an assassination run. And I was just like, well, I'm going to throw this through the fucking wall. Like, it was the end of times. Yeah, and he managed to kill my guy right back, and I was just like, guess you win, man. You're awesome. I suck.
Orca Kegslayer had a rule called Stumbling Drunk, and that guy was a son of a bitch to kill. You'd like start killing, every time you'd hit him, he would scatter, because he would just stumble away from you, and you're like, no, I want to kill you, though. Like, come back here. Because he was a brick. Like, he was so hard to kill anyway. And you'd start trying to kill him, and he just wanders out of your attack range. You're like, oh, no!
Yeah, it was a mess. That was a mess. That was the maddest I think I've ever been. On something that had nothing to do with my opponent. It just broke my brain.
And Parker both get more upset about random trolls making tough checks than anyone I've ever seen.
I think just 50-50 coin flips make me want to lose my mind. Like, I hate that shit. Why don't we just say it doesn't? We'll just say it doesn't.
Yeah, because it was actually worse because it's 5 pluses. You get on, like, strings of hitting 5 pluses. It feels so much worse because it shouldn't be happening.
That's why boom howlers were, like, the worst. The no knockdown guys that just live forever. And you're like, are you serious?
They had 4+ tough, yeah.
Ugh, what a mess. Those guys are a mess.
Yeah.
I'm headed to Florida tomorrow. I realized my children have no clothes. So I had to run to the store just before this podcast and buy them clothes to go to Florida.
They didn't have Florida clothes, or they just didn't have any clothes?
Well, when you have, like, 2 parent homes, what happens is all the clothes will migrate. Yeah, exactly. And then I called her and I was like, hey, I'm going to need some of those clothes back. She was like, yeah, they didn't have any clothes over here either. We had to go shopping the other day. I was like, are they selling their clothes at school? Like, I don't know where their fucking clothes are going. So, I mean, they are kind of outgrowing stuff and all that, but, like, are they just throwing a shirt away every day? Like,
well, I mean, you know, shirts get stained and stuff happens, but
yeah, but they just leave their clothes upstairs. Like, it's so weird.
10-year-olds will wear the shit out of a stained shirt for about 2 weeks. So.
Oh yeah, my kids don't care. These boys do not care at all. They won't run a brush through their hair. They'll wear anything many days in a
Yeah.
row, and I'm like, did you just wear that shirt to school 3 days in a row? Like, it fucking horrifies me. Like, great, social service is coming today.
If that was all it took to get taken by social services, boy, we'd live in a different place.
You're like, all I had was one shirt.
Yeah. As someone who has direct experience, let me inform you, it takes a lot more than that.
Oh, God.
Did you listen to the podcast?
The
200?
No, I did
you
not.
listen to the sound clip I put in the podcast channel?
I did listen to that, yes.
Okay. That is in the podcast multiple times. I just plugged it in. I'm coming.
I'm coming.
I'm on my way. I don't know if Parker knows it's in there or not yet.
He probably doesn't. He doesn't usually listen.
He probably doesn't. He's on vacation too, so I told most people I was going to release it as a bonus episode, but I decided to wait for 200.
Gotcha.
Aaron, did you hear the clip I put in the podcast channel?
Yes. Why did you put that there?
Oh, I was just giving you guys a heads up. It was going to be in the episode.
It was in episode 200?
It's in there twice.
It's in there twice?
I'm surprised I didn't get more death threats.
I did it the first time when I was explaining that Parker's always like when he was like, I hurt myself, I put it in there. And I was like, oh, this is why. Like, this is how you hurt yourself. And so I was like, I think it's because of this. And so I played the clip of him stumbling over his own stuff, trying to get to the game store as fast as possible. It's like, this is how I think you hurt yourself. And then I put it again at the end before the end credits.
God. I'm coming.
Wait for me. Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
When does football stuff start?
September.
Even the
We
pre-games?
are 40 days away. Yeah, the preseason. I'll pull up the schedule, I guess.
I'll say I don't really care that much about the games, but the preseason ones, but they exist.
August 10th is the first one.
That'll be good and fucking hot, won't it?
It's in Jacksonville.
Oh, I got you.
So yes,
that'll be
it's gonna
way hot.
fucking hot. Yeah. Then we've got Bears and Lions at home, August 17th and 20th. There's a 3 p.m. game and a 7 p.m. game.
Gotcha.
So at least the 7 p.m. game might be a little cooler. Be nice and dark, hopefully.
Oh my God. I'm bringing a fucking umbrella.
Yeah.
I need to get us a case of those turkey legs.
Yeah.
Those were awesome.
Yeah, they cooked up so easy, too.
Mm-hmm.
Although most of the time we're not going to have the fire pit there in the summer. But in the winter, we could go through a whole case of those easy. We probably do like a half dozen every time at least.
Well, I mean, I think there's like 48 in a case. Do you have a deep freeze?
No, not personally. I mean, I have an extra freezer. Why? How big is the case?
Bigger than that.
This big?
Like, I don't know. It would take up a freezer. Like in your, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see. Between my 2 freezers, I'm sure I could get it in there. But yeah.
Well, make Connor buy a deep freezer for us. I'm sure he's got gambling money he needs to get rid of, tax purposes and all.
Yeah. I would say my roommate has been talking about getting a freezer, so I'll ask him if he's for serious about that. Honestly, just Facebook Marketplace something. Like, it's not that hard. They're usually practically giving them away because people just want it out of their house.
So, Aaron, you played Blood Bowl earlier. Was that online?
Yeah.
What app, or is there just a game online? How do you do that?
So there are two different ways you can do it. One's through something called Fumble, and the other one's with Blood Bowl 3. PC.
Yeah, you just play on the computer game, and you basically build your teams up that way.
I have played in leagues in Blood Bowl 2 before.
Uh-huh.
I have not yet purchased Blood Bowl 3, but this was on Fumble. Fumble is a Java sprite-based system, which is as bare bones as it gets.
Yeah.
However, it allows infinite customization for what you want to do. So, for instance, this was a practice. We're having Team USA play Team Canada as a scrimmage to help us solidify and lock in the teams we want to take to Euro Bowl, and rosters are due in 7 days.
Oh.
So we're on round 4 now. Like, we're just doing a round robin playing each other.
Yeah.
There are 6 people per team, or 8 per team. I forget. I just know I'm on the team.
Gotcha.
But this one, there's no like matchups, right? You just play player A on the versus player A.
I mean, there is a matchup when they click next round.
But it's random. You don't. There's no matchup process.
It
It's like you're not like doing alternate selection to determine who's going to play who.
is. It might be Swiss pairings, and the only reason I say that is because I ended up playing against someone who was 2-0 when I was 2-0. So I'm not sure if it's Swiss or completely random, but it's either one of the two.
When you play another team, it's set matchups, right?
You mean in this
like when
online
we
tournament or
went
for real?
When we got paired with another team, we would do the matchup process where we determined who was playing who.
No.
In this, it's just your player A plays their player A.
In Blood Bowl, none of the tournaments that are going on in the world use a captain's pair system.
Right, that's what I was
typically
asking. So
they use a 1 through 8. You will have a personal ranking for how you're doing after round 1. So round 1 will be random. Round 2,
so
number 8 on our team will be playing number 8 on their team.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So,
but for this, it's just a round robin because we're playing the same country.
Yeah, it's
right.
practice.
Yeah.
It's obviously not the same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I went and saw Twisters yesterday.
Terrible.
And like everything in my life, it was way too complicated to get it. Like, so no, Monday I was trying to get tickets to a 40X because my girlfriend watches TikTok, and everybody on TikTok now has decided that you have to see Twisters in 40X. So I said, okay, that sounds cool. I'll take you and the boys. We'll go. So I'm trying to get tickets. Can't get it on Monday. It's all sold out because of fucking TikTok. You can't get it in. So Tuesday, I was like, oh, okay, this theater all the way out by her or you. That one off of Shawnee, that one that nobody goes to. So I buy tickets. The tickets between us 4 are almost $80. I'm like, God damn it, that's so expensive. But whatever.
That's how much they cost now.
Yep. Get there. We get in there, buy popcorn, whatever. I'm like in it for like $100 at this point. We're sitting in there, and the movie starts, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's fucking 40X. Like, I've been in a 40X. This is not 40X. So like 15 minutes in, I'm like, I have decided this is fucked up, and I'm angry. Okay. So I grab my popcorn, I go to fill it up, and I'm like, I use that as an excuse to get out of my seat. And I'm not telling everybody how pissed off I am. So I grab my popcorn, go fill it up, and I'm like, is that theater not 40X? Right? And he's like, no, that's the grand screen. That's just the big screen. So I said, why the fuck would I go to the big screen when obviously this is a 40X movie? You want to go to that. Like, I don't understand. And I go, also, I don't want to see this shitty movie in the first place. And he's like, yeah, I mean, did you get, there was nobody at the front desk to talk to me about buying a ticket. I had to do the whole thing online. Then I had to do my little kiosk thing because there's no one to talk to or any of this stuff. He's like, yeah, it is kind of confusing on there. I go, look at my ticket. You see how it says grand screen 40X? It says all of them at the top of the ticket because you can't select the specific. It just says them all. Yeah, let me check. So he looks it up. He's like, yeah, the other one's full. The 40X is full. And I go, what do you propose me to do? I go, I'm sitting in this shitty movie I paid $100 for. I don't want to be here now. I'm super pissed. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I tell you what, at the end of it, we'll just give you some ticket passes to whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. Whatever. I go, I just drove like an hour here and just wasted my time, but fine. So I go back in the movie and I'm just furious. And I'm like fuming. Heather's looking over at me. And I go,
because you're acting like a psycho?
No, because she is something wrong. Like, I'm obviously not kicking chairs and shit. I'm just like in my seat. And she's like, what's up? And I'm like, you know, this isn't 40X, right? Quietly, so no one hears this, you know. And I'm like, this is not 40X. What? Yeah. I'm like, this fucked up. She's like, well, what happened? I'm like, we're in the fucking movie right now. We can't go over this.
Movie ruined.
So I'm just mad. So the first half of the movie, completely ruined. I was just seeing red, angry. But I couldn't do anything about it. There was no one to punch. There was nothing to kick. I was just like, fuck! And then the last half of the movie, I enjoyed it because I just gave up and watched it. And then I left the movie theater. And my kids didn't even know. I was like, hey, do you guys like the movie? Yeah, it was great, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I go to get my tickets, and then Heather tells them we didn't go see 40X. They could have told their friends that we saw 40X, but no.
She told the kids.
Yeah. So we got passes to the next movie and all that shit. But I swear to God, this stuff happens to me all the time. I don't know if I'm just... I pulled up the site again. Like it's so fucking hard to tell which movie you're going into. But whatever, man. So yeah, that's what happens.
So I just bought 10 tickets for Deadpool.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in for like $230.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I found it quite easy to figure out which movie theater I was going to be in.
Well, probably because they're only doing the one fucking theater or whatever.
No, there's 3.
Okay.
But it's on the page, it's sorted by which type of theater and then by movie times. And so, but the grand screen is on the top. And so when you're looking at it, it's like a word cloud. And so I could see you confusing which one was which.
I mean, I looked it up by, I want a 40X theater for this movie. I click on it. It brings the movie up. I'm like, okay, it says 40X. I click on it. I go with that. And for some reason, it was like, okay, cool. Grand screen it is. Like, you fucking butthole. Yeah, that was not awesome.
Aaron, do you find it surprising that Jeremy couldn't figure out the movie tickets online thing?
Is the sky blue during the daytime?
I just remember when I would tell Jeremy to message me on Discord, and he's like, I can't figure that out. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I can only talk to you when you talk to me first, because then the red dot shows up. And I just click the red dot, and then it lets me talk to you. But if I have to message you, I have to wait for you to message me first. I'm like, that's not at all how that works. And he's like, he couldn't figure it out. So I understand the situation.
I think I know exactly when the technically competent generation started. And it was in between Jeremy's birthday and mine. There's like a really fine line. Because we're like months apart.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, like 10 years and 3 months.
Oh my God. But, oh my God. What did somebody say the other day? They're like, you're an analog in a digital world or something. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just want, like, when I worked in a movie theater, you paid in cash. I had to count the shit back. There wasn't any way to do it. And I printed just some fucking tickets from an arcane machine.
I remember
that goes,
waiting for the giant, like, rotary thing under the counter, like, and just, like, stick one ticket up. They'd rip it.
Yep.
And they'd be like, and then they'd wait. It's like, I need 12. They're like, it'll be a few minutes. Because we had to wait for the giant, fucking rotary printer.
Yeah.
Dot matrix shit printing out. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I need assistance. Like, I just need, like, I am perfect for, like, I actually am great at being a director. I need people to support me and be able to do those things. See, like, if we want to order pizza at work, I find someone that's excited about ordering pizza, and I'm like, oh, you know what? You probably know what everybody wants. Go ahead and order it. I'm a fucking hero.
You're really good at delegating. Yeah,
yes, I'm a fucking hero. But if it's me, oh, nobody's getting pizza. Like, we're getting, we're going to get half a salad.
You got to find one of those people, one of those, like, chains that's still, like, ancient with you. Like, call Domino's. A guy will answer the phone, like, what you want? And they're like, I need
exactly
like 4 large pizzas with some toppings. And he's like, I got you.
I got you, boo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some guy that just got off a smoke break and doesn't have time for this shit. Like, that's who you need.
God. Got a pencil, a notepad. Yes. Done.
Yeah, exactly. They're just writing on a pad by the phone. That's how they take orders.
They have one phone.
What's your address? Just writes it out.
Credit card number. Writing it on the bottom of the pad. Fucking done.
Yeah. That was one thing I did miss, being the youngest person on the cast. I never, ever had the manually taking credit cards. Like, it's always been a machine the entire time I've been alive. Or been able to understand digital currency, at least. Like, it's like, you put the card in the machine, that's how it works. There's none of that writing shit down and then, like, swiping it through the paper transfer. I've never seen that actually happen. I've seen the machines, like the swipers, but never.
Yeah. Have you actually
seen one get used?
Have you been in a grocery store or somewhere and had to stand behind someone writing a check?
Yes. Checks was definitely part of my, like, younger adulthood. I've written checks to pay for meals. Like, I've done that.
Okay.
It's just, I just missed the manual credit card thing.
I was going to say, because, like, it's been a very long time since, like, that was a normal thing where people were writing checks.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, being your family and whatnot, how could you not have seen people write checks? You can't write a bad check
No,
without
100%,
writing checks.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen a lot of fake checks written in my day. I've seen a lot of, this is, it's just a new book, don't worry about it.
It's a new book.
It's a new checkbook, don't worry about it. I've had lots of, I've seen a lot of times somebody sign up for a new credit card with a fake name and they just immediately start buying stuff on the card. That I know the people that the reason that they don't give you immediate access to money now. Also working for the bank, like there's a lot of fraud that you'll see at the bank that no longer happens because there's like a delay. But it used to be you could walk into a bank and you could walk out with a debit card same day. They don't do that anymore. You have to get it mailed to you, so that way they have time to check all your information.
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be you'd go in with like $50, you'd open a checking account, and you'd walk out and withdraw like $150 out of the ATM, and it turns out it was a fake name, like shit like that they don't let you do anymore. The world is a lot less trusting.
Have you ever got caught? Like, okay, so this is an age thing as well. Back in the day, when they actually did for real try and fuck people to death with overdrafting.
Oh yeah,
you ever got caught in one of those? So
I remember feeling like I was in one of those situations when I was in high school because I only had a part-time job, right? And I was with, I think it was Cap Fed. I can't remember. It was a little bank in Kansas, but they had a $5 per day overdraft. So in a lot of situations, that'd be way better for you, right? But in my situation, there wasn't a phone app, there wasn't a website. You checked your balance by going to an ATM and putting your card in. That was the only way you could check your balance. And so I overdrafted by like $3 because I was a kid in high school. I had no idea. Overdraft. It was an ATM card, not a debit card. They didn't have debit cards back then. You could just withdraw money with it. That's all you could do. And so I withdrew money to pay like one of my bills, and it turns out I overdrafted by like 80 cents. And so there was a $5 per day overdraft fee, but why would you go back to the bank? And so it was like 2 weeks overdrawn. And so it was like a fucking $100 in fees. I was like, what the fuck is this? And so I was pissed. But I mean, anywhere else, now it's even worse because it's like $35 per item. And then there's also a weekly overdraft fee.
So what happened to me is when me and my ex were in our 20s and we were in college, we had to get grants for money. So we get like $2,000 cash grants or whatever, and we get them from the bank essentially. Mm-hmm. Well, the way it used to be set up, and I'm pretty sure that it's not like this anymore because it's like predatory. They would hold our big bills, like the car payments and stuff, pull that, it would overdraft, and then tack on every single soda. It would be soda, bubblegum, whatever. 30
That's
things.
Standard. Yeah.
And we went like negative $2,500. And as students, and we're 20, like this was unbelievable. I basically called the bank and was like, I was on my hands and knees. I told them, I go, the way you guys did this, you just took your own money and then took all of that, our money as well. So me to be able to pay this back, I'm going to take more of your money to pay back money that you took from me. So the guy ended up being like, yeah, okay, we'll let all those go and whatever, just one time. But that was the craziest shit ever. Like, that made me so upset when I saw that fee.
You should be furious.
Dude, I was like,
I think there was a class action lawsuit against Bank of America for that exact thing. So since I worked for the bank, peeling through the veil here, every customer at every bank has a score. It's like a karma score, but they won't tell you have it. And the karma score is a formula based on how many total fees, including interest, you have paid to them. It's basically an accountant of how much money they've made off of you over your account lifespan at the bank.
Oh, really?
That number is then multiplied by your longevity with your accounts. And so it's a big formula that comes out to a final number. In training, they'll tell you, we technically will automatically approve refunding any fees up to this amount. That being said, it's up to you to gauge the interaction with the customer and determine if it's necessary to refund the fees or not. If you don't believe they will leave the bank, don't refund it. And then so if you escalate, talk to a supervisor and escalate to go to, I'm going to close my account. And depending on who you're talking to, they have a better way of gauging that. And so the further you get in the chain is the more likely they'll refund those fees up to that amount. I've seen people go over that amount. It's all context based. Like part of it is like, you know that these fees were coming and it's 100% a choice you made. We're not going to refund them. But if it was like truly a mistake, usually the people will do something. I've refunded tons of fees. And usually any time somebody called me, it was like, I have an overdraft fee. And it wasn't like, yeah, I did this on purpose. I would usually refund it. But yeah, the standard operating procedure and the bullshit line they tell you to tell people is, well, the reason the big ones go first is because we wouldn't want you to like, miss a rent payment because you bought a $5 sandwich. And you're like, well, sure. But like, you could have just like done it in reverse. Regardless, you're going to pay the money anyway. Like, why would if you just do it the opposite way? I don't pay as many fees. And so usually it's crazy. Yeah. But I had a friend in high school. His name was Jeremiah. He had like no willpower whatsoever. And so he's a paycheck to paycheck kind of guy. And so he'd be sitting there 2 days before payday going, man, I'm really hungry. And he had no like ability to like meal prep or anything. Because he had no self-control. And so he would just be like, okay, well, I know I have $3 in my account. Taco Bell's going to run me $14. I'm just going to go buy Taco Bell. And he'll buy Taco Bell for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 days. And then also go buy like smokes or something and a soda at the gas station. Every one of those hitting him for a $25 overdraft fee.
Oof.
And he's like, okay, that's just what I do now. And I was like, you're just doing a payday loan through your bank at this point, dude.
Oh my God.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's just some people they just accept it. And I was like, man, if you just didn't for a week, you'd never have this problem again. Because you're paying like over $100 to your bank every time you get a paycheck. Like, it's like $150 you're losing out of every paycheck because you just can't wait. Like, you can't just go buy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and ramen just for 1 week. Just couldn't do it.
Well,
some of my favorite bank stories. When you get like you were talking about those big like grant money checks.
Yeah.
Just like your income tax return. People will get like these crazy big amounts that come in. Well, the way it functionally actually works is they just put the money in your account. Then they place a separate hold on your account. It's two separate things. So the money comes in instantaneously. Then at the same time, basically right after that, they're putting a hold on your account for the amount of money they're not giving you access to, which basically just locks that money unavailable. And so let's say you get a $7,500 return, and they give you $100 immediately. They would take out $7,400 into a hold. One time, I got a phone call from somebody. They apparently had a trainee at the bank, didn't know that you didn't need to put the .00 in the hold entry. So instead of putting 7,400, he put 740,000.
Whoa!
So the guy's bank account was like negative $740,000.
Oops!
And it happened. Of course, the check came in on a Friday at 3:00. By the time he had realized it, it's Friday night, and it's a branch. They don't open till Monday. And the only person that could remove the hold was physically in store. And I was like, well, I can't buy food for my kids. I'm like, well, let me put you on hold for a minute. And so I called my supervisor, called the branch manager at home on a weekend night, and we convinced the branch manager to go into the building and remove the hold on their off hours.
That was kind of them. They don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People would rather die than help you at the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
They would rather die.
Yeah. One of the ones that blew me away, I couldn't believe people were this stupid. This woman, she calls in, like, hey, my debit card's not working. So I pull up her account, and there's like the first page that pulls up on the account information is notes. Like notes other people have made on the person's account. And it was a book. And I was like, oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to put you on hold while I basically read your account notes. And I go through it all. It's basically, there's suspected fraud. There's all these like fake deposits being made. And so I get her back on the phone. I'm like, hey, ma'am, says there's a lot of deposits coming into the account that are like fraudulent. Can you explain your deposit history to me? Well, she's like, well, I figured out that the ATM by my house, they don't empty it until Wednesday. And then usually it takes them a day or two to check the envelopes. So I've been just putting an empty envelope into a deposit slip that says I type in $400. And then I get $400 to use immediately. And then on Friday, when they check it, they remove the $400, but that's the same day my direct deposit comes in. So it just replaces the fake $400 with real money. And she had been doing this for like 8 months. I was like, ma'am, I don't know if you understand this, but that's literal fraud. And since it's a bank, it's a federal crime if you're doing it intentionally.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
I don't know what to tell you, but basically you're fucked.
I always thought that was like insane, or just that always blew my mind that people could write on an envelope and jam it in there, and then that was like a thing. I
Yeah.
never trusted
Yeah.
that. I never did that one time.
Right.
It
Yeah.
freaks me the fuck out. I'm like, no way, dude. No way.
Yeah.
So I haven't deposited in a bank in decades.
Like physically gone to a bank to give them money.
Correct. So I did it once. In the past, like 30 years, I've gone to a
It
bank.
felt
once.
horrible.
Actually, it was super interesting. So we keep our extra cash. Where do you think we keep it in our house?
Mattress.
Nope.
Mattress.
Nope.
Still mattress.
Still no.
Freezer?
Yep.
Ha!
So I showed up to the bank and I gave her
Got it too.
like $6,000 in absolutely frozen hundreds. And she was like, wow, this is really cold. I'm like, yeah, some cold hard cash right there. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I've had roommates for a long time. They always ended up paying me in cash, so I'd have to go to the bank a lot. So, and I also go to the bank for work. So,
But what I was going to say was, so since, for the past 30 years, I've been using direct deposit, which is just take a picture of your fucking check and it's just available automatically. But you can do the same thing that lady did if you don't put the right number down.
That's wild.
yeah, but I mean, usually that gets caught pretty quickly, and they fix it, right? But there's a difference between making a mistake. That's not a crime,
Sure, yes.
Doing
I have
it
made one
intentionally,
mistake in my
right.
direct deposits via
right?
phone,
No, actually,
and they had to
one
correct
of
it.
the one of the really annoying things is they used to do that. You could take a picture of your check and direct deposit it,
Mhm.
and which you were talking about. And so I had two roommates that we split rent evenly, so they were paying me the exact same amount, and every fucking month they would bounce one of the two as a duplicate deposit, even though they were from a different person. Like the check had a different sender, and so I'd have to wait 2 days to deposit the other check. It was super fucking annoying. So I ended up telling them that you have to give me $8.49, you give me $8.51, and we can just alternate. It doesn't matter, but I'm not waiting. It's so annoying to do it twice.
Sure.
I actually have my trash service. The only thing that I have to write a check for, and I refuse to do it, which is, it punishes the shit out of me, but it bothers me so bad I just refuse to do what they want me to do. Which is, every 3 months they send me a fucking little postcard that says it's due. Everyone else I got set up with my bank. It's automatic. I don't pay any. These motherfuckers. So I wait.
They won't do it.
I wait until they stop picking up my goddamn trash. Then I call them.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to come get my trash. And they're like, oh, well, we shut that off. I'm like, okay, well, go ahead and start again. Well, we're going to charge you an extra $25. I'm like, well, I guess that's what we have to do then. God damn it. I try and catch it every 3 months, but...
Yeah. I just miss it. Yeah.
So do you hold on? Do you get 4 weeks free before they realize you haven't paid?
Well, it's not free. They still charge you.
Yeah.
They just
so this last time I was 2 months over. They shut it off. I had to pay up to, and then at the end of August I got to start paying again. So there's nothing free. No, it's just me.
You should ask them. You should ask them if you can pay future, pay a credit on your account.
Nope, they won't let me.
Pay triple, and you'll have to do it once a year.
Nope,
yeah.
They won't let me. They're completely archaic, and that's one thing that I think. I look up and down my road, and there's only a handful of AAA trash cans. The rest of them have gone to this other service, and I'm like, that's what's happening.
That's it.
These sons of bitches
squeezing their way in.
So I just went to a mom and pop trash operation that started up because the company that used to run the trash around here got bought up by a big company. Yeah. And then the big company in the span of a year doubled the rates. So because of that, 2 other companies kind of had startups, but they're the kind that walks around and pulls your bags out of your trash can by hand. Their truck won't do it for them because it's just a Chevy Silverado with extended it's not that bad. But anyway, but even they will just charge my credit card on file.
I'm just imagining some
No, yeah,
guys
they
driving up the road and then jamming all your garbage into the drain.
Isn't it fucking crazy that utility accounts are like, well, we charge you extra for using a debit card, and they just make it as hard as possible to pay them when every other company, I can have people scan a QR code to pay me directly, the person, not the corporation, Brandon, the person. And it's like, you guys can easily do this, just fucking get with the times, but they just won't.
Nope,
because it's like usually city municipal crap. But the city of Olathe, which is where I used to live, they were the most aggressive ever at shutting your service off. If you were late, I'm not exaggerating, if you were late 3 days, your water's off. Like, it's already off. Like, it's like, you get home from work, oh yeah, bill was due Wednesday, it's Friday afternoon, your water's off.
Wow.
Like, really? Like, come on. It was nuts. And like the people that lived there before me warned me, it's like, hey, set your water up, like you set your reminder on your phone to pay your water bill. Because they'll mail you a letter, and if by the time you get it, if you're not already paying it, it's off. Like, it's like, what?
Oh
it's like you have to be so proactive about it. And if, like, for a while they didn't even take online payments, you had to like either mail them a check or drive down to the building in South Olathe and pay them directly.
Wow.
It was crazy.
No, my trash people are the only ones that will turn anything off. The rest of them will just continuously smash like another red number on top of the other number. And I'm like, obviously I didn't know. Like, dude, like the ones, like I'll get a change of a card or something and I won't be paying attention. And then, 6 months later, I'll get something in the mail that's like, you haven't paid this in 6 months. You now owe us all these fucking, I'm like, what? Jesus Christ, you couldn't have sent me a letter like once it happened once?
Called me? Yeah.
No, they're fine.
There's actually statutes that prevent them from shutting off your water and gas. Or sorry, not water, gas. Electricity and gas at certain times of year. They actually cannot turn off your heat in the summer. They can't turn off your air conditioning in the summer. Oh, sorry, I said the back. Winter and summer.
Thank God for that.
Alrighty, you guys ready for some Mojo?
Oh man, I'm so fucking ready. I'm just glad Parker's not here. Like, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, we have to hear about fucking pickle ice cream.
Let's have a beer and a half in. You have to remind what we're talking about.
Ice cream flavors.
Okay.
Mojo World. We gotta come with a Mojo World like theme song.
Welcome to Mojo World.
I don't think she said you need to make one.
Mojo in all the places.
Yep, Mojo. Bump.
All right, here we go. Aaron's going first today. We've got flavors of ice cream, Mr. Aaron.
It is the one and only cookie dough.
Nice.
Alrighty, that puts me up next. I'm gonna go with salted caramel. Some delicious stuff.
Pralines and cream.
What?
Okay.
Did you say pralines?
Pralines. Pralines and cream. Pralines.
I'm still not.
Peanut. Potassium. Pharmacy.
No, say what. Someone keeps talking while you're saying it. Say it again.
Mojo World. What the fuck are you talking about?
Say the flavor again. Someone keeps talking while you're saying it.
Pralines and cream.
I
don't know what that word is.
Pralines. Pralines.
Okay.
Pralines.
Pralines. What the fuck is a pralines?
It's a candied, like a candied nut type thing. What are you talking about? It's a praline.
I've never heard of this. Hold on.
Oh my god. Oh.
Pralines.
Oh, you two.
Huh. This is apparently a real thing.
Shit. It's delicious.
What the fuck? Is it like peanut brittle? Okay, I've never heard of that before. All right, what's your next one? Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Or is it praline's first flavor, second flavor, cream?
So fucking weird. Peanut butter fudge.
So you like them nuts, do you?
Man, I do. I like nuts in my mouth.
All right, I'm going to go with Pistachio almond.
Pistachio. Is that okay? You sure? Is
Pistachio
that a
ice
thing?
cream. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know what pistachios are?
I do know, but I just want to make sure you do.
I think that was JFK's favorite ice cream. All right, Aaron. What's your final two?
So the next one is absolutely going to be chocolate.
Yeah, I do. I almost already started typing.
After that, it gets weird. Are we considering like gelato flavors, or is this like
No,
strictly
ice
ice cream you can buy in a fucking
Ice
Walmart?
Cream. It doesn't have to be in Walmart. It can be any brand, but it has to
Sure.
be ice cream, not sherbet.
Yeah,
ice
yeah,
cream.
yeah. Black raspberry.
See, that's the one that mostly I would say isn't a thing.
Black
Well, it's just 'cause
raspberry?
it's not
Yeah.
famous flavor.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what raspberry is?
As an ice cream flavor,
Are you
Well-
saying it's not a famous one?
I'm saying I've never had it. I never saw it on sale.
You can probably get it in Walmart tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a thing.
I don't want
It's
it.
real.
Nah.
It's not real.
Otherwise, there's going to be some fucking mango gelato. But apparently, I
Nah.
have to go with black raspberry ice
I
cream.
mean, you can just do mango ice cream.
No. There has to be a certain texture to it that makes the mango worthwhile. So if I have to go ice cream, it's black raspberry.
I'm going to put cotton candy blizzard from Dairy Queen. I can cut off the blizzard if you guys want, but it's fucking delicious.
I feel like you're baiting your audience. They're gonna go
No,
Blizzard,
legit,
of course.
If you've never tried
fucker.
it, go try it. It's only a summer flavor. It's amazing.
The Heath Blizzard is tight. I do like that one.
Heath is also good, but I'm not a huge chocolate person, so I like just generally sweet flavors that aren't chocolatey. But the cotton candy blizzard, I could literally eat every single day. I have to force myself not to go to Dairy Queen every day when it's available.
Mm.
All right, Jeremy, got your last flavor.
Mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why you keep cutting out like right as you start talking, and so I'm missing like the first half of your word. Alrighty, we got it.
Champion.
I remember the first time I had salted caramel ice cream was in Wisconsin at some like local place that makes it themselves. It was really fucking good. It was really good. That was the 3 U-turns road trip.
Oh God. Oh God.
I was so mad because it was dark. It's somewhere we had never been, and the roads were covered in snow. You could barely even see the roads. So it was like somebody else is navigating. We had 5 people in the car going to get ice cream, and it was like -10 outside. It was January in Wisconsin. It was fucking cold.
That's horrible.
And so I get in the car. I was like, all right, whoever's in the passenger seat is navigating. Somebody gets in the passenger seat. His name is Brett. And so I was like, all right, where are we going? He's all right, take a right. I get on take a right. It's literally the on-ramp of a highway. So we get on the highway, we start going. We've been going about 10 minutes. I was like, so we just take this for a while? He's like, oh, actually, we're going to take a U-turn. I look to my left, and there's just a median. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean take a U-turn? It's like, we're going the wrong direction. I'm like, God damn it. So we have to go for another 5 minutes, get off, turn around, start going on the highway. We go that direction for almost 20 minutes. He's like, all right, now take another U-turn. And I about pushed him out of the car. I was so furious. I almost left him at the ice cream place in Wisconsin.
I could eat Andy's ice cream every day.
What's Andy's? Is it just a brand?
It's custard.
Oh, yeah, Andy's frozen custard. Yeah. I've never been much of a frozen custard person. I don't know why.
Oh, so good.
It's like yogurt, almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
It's like take all the calories that's in ice cream, smash it into one single cube, and that's how many calories you get from custard.
Yeah, it's more? Okay.
Oh, it's crazy.
Is it?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Alrighty, you guys ready to jump into this? Do you
Dude,
want to talk about some more stuff?
I'm very ready.
So ready.